Dexter says, ESPN, I came here to say I hope you didn't double up on that free money alarm bet. Thankfully, I was too lazy to add money to my account. Yes, thankfully, I was too lazy to go double my bet on Alabama plus 3.5 because, ugh. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one entity that you should never question, it is not Nick Saban in the college football postseason. It is the folks in Las Vegas knowing exactly what the hell they're talking about.
See, this was bothering me the entire time I'm watching. I'm like, how do they know? How does Vegas know? They
just know.
Do they have control of things to make sure things go the way that they want them to?
They have a TARDIS.
I mean, they could have a TARDIS.
They have a TARDIS. It is locked away in the vault at Caesars. It costs billions of dollars to construct, but they have the ability to travel through time and see the future. It's the only thing I got.
See, now I picture, is it JB Smooth, the guy who does the commercials now for Caesars? I'm picturing him in the TARDIS. Man, that would be awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bama doesn't want to beat Texas. I have heard for years how much different that Texas-Alabama national championship game would have been had Colt McCoy not got hurt, not got injured in the first quarter, and forced them to go with Gilbert Grape, a.k.a. Garrett Gilbert, for the rest of the game. I've heard for years from Texas fans that game would have ended up differently had Garrett Gilbert not been pressed into service. That game ends differently if Jameson Williams doesn't go down with a pop knee. That's just a fact, all right? Now, it is football. That's how the game of football works.
That was ugly.
And that was bad.
Oh.
That front-on view they showed when he was running down the field, you could see something in the knee pop. Jamo went down. He was done. And at that point, Alabama had no vertical passing game. And once that vertical passing game went away, once Alabama lost the home run ball, it was at that point that Georgia was able to start genuinely attacking Bryce Young. 39 quarterback pressures for Alabama last night. What did I tell you guys needed to be the key? Georgia needed to assault the line of scrimmage like they were trying to catch charges. They needed to assault Bryce Young like some of them were trying to get into handcuffs later in the night. And that's what they did. 39 QB pressures for the Dogs last night. And it was all that they needed. All that they needed to get it done. And they did. And they did. We're going to forego the lunch breakdown today because we're going to dive right in to the timeline, the X's and O's of that game yesterday evening. We're going to jump straight away into what we saw play out last night because the Dogs came to freaking play last night. It started off early in the night. The very first, in fact, I thought, as I think most of us did, most of us got to the point where I thought, easy money, baby. Easy money, right? First play of the game, clip number, sorry, did I miss my first play of the game? Whatever. I'll get to it. Bryce Young comes out early. There was a lot going on in this game. Give me, where did my daggum? Anyway, it started off, I spent legit 2 hours putting this whole thing together. Let's start with clip one. Let's go with clip one. Alabama's Bryce Young. 13:35 left to play in the first quarter. Bryce Young drops back to pass, and we started with controversy out the gate when this happened.
Young, and they get him to the ground finally. Big Jordan Davis, 350 pounds. The ball comes out. It's Dean running for the end zone, and they signal a touchdown. Didn't get blown dead. Not just a sack, but the big man in the middle forces the takeaway if it stands.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young tried to throw the ball to get rid of it. Shocking that the play stayed alive, but you're right, relentless effort from Jordan Davis to come up with this sack.
They'll review it, of course. Let's go to our expert in the booth. Bill, what do you see there? And what do you believe that Peter Voss, the ACC replay official, is looking at?
I see control of the ball and his hand goes forward. He's trying to pass it. Now the hit impacted the throw, but I have him putting the ball forward.
Here's the verdict.
After further review, the quarterback's hand was moving forward for an incomplete pass. Second down.
So relief, and the review takes Dean's scoop and score off the board.
So that was right out the gate.
How's that controversial though? His hand was obviously going forward. I think unless you're on the opposite team, how could you see anything different?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think both quarterback calls were correct last night. I thought that was correctly called an incomplete pass, and we got the highlight of it later on in the show. But I think the Stetson Bennett, the fourth incomplete pass, that was actually a fumble, was the correct call as well. I got to tell you, I saw a lot of people banging on about, oh, these AC refs are atrocious. These ACC refs are terrible, terrible, terrible. I got to tell you the truth, though. I thought they did an adequate job. I think there were some misholds here and there, but that's going to happen in every game. You'd like it not to happen on the biggest stage. But the two biggest calls of the night, that scoop and score that wasn't by Georgia and the fumble recovery that was by Alabama, I thought both of those calls were ultimately gotten correct.
You know, I agree with you too, but there were some really obvious holes.
I agree.
And so I guess they let them play, and when they needed to make the calls, they made the calls.
Yeah, I think I hear so often, let them play, let them play. They let them play. They weren't calling holds that weren't directly impacting the game last night, and people were genuinely upset about it. We got to pick one, ladies and gentlemen. Either we want every hold called or we want to let them play. I think they let them play last night. Again, it wasn't spectacular officiating. I thought it was adequate for the national championship. All right, let's keep going with this. Clip number 2, 9:55 left in the first quarter. Alabama would score a 37-yard field goal on their opening possession to take a 3-0 lead. That would be the saga of the first half, just field goals back and forth. 9:55 first quarter, Stetson Bennett the fourth on the very first play of the game for the Georgia offense.
How much help can they get from the running game? Zamir White, call him Zeus. In the backfield, they fake it to him. Bennett pressured on the rollout, and he's going to be sacked immediately. Christian Harris got there, and it's a big loss.
Christian Harris is assigned to Stetson Bennett back here in case the action comes away. Watch his discipline to stay back off of that. And you're talking about a linebacker who was a corner and a wide receiver in high school. Tremendous athletic ability. Bennett can move. He's got wiggle, but Harris makes a heck of a play to start this game for the Crimson Tide defense.
I would like to be referred to from now on, Lonzo, as he's got wiggle. That's that. If I kicked the bucket earlier on my tombstone, I wanted to say Rob Brown, radio show host, tremendous friend. He had wiggle.
I got to say, I don't watch you in a way to notice if you wiggle or not, and I don't plan to in the future. So somebody else will have to tell you that.
I got wiggle, baby. I got wiggle. Stetson Bennett sacked for a 9-yard loss on the first possession by Christian Harris. We would, a couple of plays later, have what I do think was one of the worst calls of the game, a disconcerting signals called on Tua, the linebacker for Alabama. The referee said that he was clapping, because, that stadium was loud last night, so the quarterbacks were going to clap counts, and they said Tua was clapping. The replay very clearly showed he was not clapping. He was banging his forearms together to get his defense aligned right. I thought that was absolutely a missed call, and I thought it was interesting that the back judge called that, right? That was a back judge call who could not even see what was going on. He just saw the arms banging together and immediately assumed that it was a clap. That helped Georgia continue the drive. Stetson Bennett would then take off on a first down run opportunity, but just drop the ball when he was making a cutaway from the Alabama linebacker. Just drop the ball. That's what happens when you got too much wiggle, Lonzo. Some of us got too much wiggle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Me and Stet 4, we both got RB3 and Stet 4. We both got too much wiggle. What it comes down to.
When you reach a certain age, your wiggle could, throw something out like a hip or something.
True story.
So you got to be careful.
That's why you got to keep the wiggle active. You got to keep wiggling, baby. When you like me in SB4, RB3 and SB4, you got to keep wiggling. We'd have a delay of game just a couple of plays later as SB4 at this point clearly looked rattled, right? I mean, Stetson Bennett early in that game, and I'm a big fan. I like what he did last night, but SB4 was rattled earlier in this game. Bama was attacking him from different angles. He was just out of his head, end up taking a delay of game. Georgia would go 3 and out, lost 5 yards on that delay of game, which really cost them because the next play would have been a first down. Instead, they go 3 and out. They punt to Bama. 6:35 left to play in this game. We're going to go to clip 3. Bryce Young finds the guy that was the unsung hero last night for Alabama. This guy came up with some incredible catches, but Georgia's defense absolutely attacking when Lawrence Seen forced a 3 and out. Sounded like this.
That makes this one important. 3rd and 3. Williams in motion. Backpedaling. Young gets it to Bolden, but he's not going to get there. Lewis Seed came flying in, dropped him for a loss, and the Tide go 3 and out.
You're going to bring the linebacker pressure right in the middle here, right to the outside, but Lewis Seed does a great job of following this to the outside, in position, comes up there and makes the tackle on Bolden. Also the pressure. How many times did we see Bryce Young falling back, throwing off of his back foot, fading away in that SEC championship game? You never saw it.
And that's exactly right. In the SEC championship game, Bryce Young had all day to throw. In this one, 39 QB pressures brought by the Georgia defense. They attacked. Again, key to the game was what? Kill it at the line of scrimmage. And by kill it, I mean literally almost kill them. And that's what Georgia did. Bryce Young throws to Slade Bolden, would force an Alabama 3 and out. We go back and forth for about 5 more minutes. Texter says, Lonzo, Rob, there's a difference between wiggle and jiggle. Wow.
Way to hurt the show with that text.
Yeah, don't worry. I only definitely take that a lot personal. See, wiggle causes jiggle, all right? Wiggle causes jiggle. You can have wiggle and jiggle, of which I do, but it's in all the right places.
Well, here's the thing. You wiggle, then you jiggle. I don't think you jiggle, then you wiggle.
Correct.
And sometimes
if the jiggle causes the wiggle, you need a doctor. But if the wiggle causes the jiggle, it just means you got the dad bod, #dad bod. That's me. Not a dad bod anyway.
And if you wiggle, then you jiggle, then you wait a while and you wiggle again. It's like constant.
All right, let's go to $151 in the first quarter. This is where Georgia first showed some heart in clip number 4. We got $151 left to play in the first quarter. George Pickens running wide open down the middle of the field, and SB4 dropped a dime on him.
3 tight ends in the ball game now. And they fake it to Bowers. Here's a downfield shot. George Pickens, a diving catch. As the elite receiver has waited a long time to make a play like that in the big game.
Well, he gets matched up against Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is the matchup we wanted to see to the left. He gets inside of him. Safeties are caught up on the crosser, so it's one-on-one. What a throw by Bennett to put it up into the air to give Pickens a chance to get separation and then go get the ball and lay out and then turn his body to protect the ball from hitting the surface.
ACL in the spring. It's been a tough rehab. He hasn't been 100%, but when he is, he's dangerous.
So that was George Pickens, the big ball down the middle. It was a great look. It was a great look. And that was the first time in the entire game. I mean, it's very late in the first quarter that Georgia's offense looked like they were going to get something going and was able to push Bama back on their heels. This would lead to a Georgia field goal after a long drive. We would go 3-3 after that one. And again, Stetson Bennett, a lot of nerves right out the gate. But on that pass, Lonzo, he set in the pocket. He found his guy, maybe a yard shorter, and that's a touchdown. But when you're throwing in the face of Bama linebackers, that's an absolute dime. And what a layout by Pickens, not just to get his hands out there, but as Kirk Herbstreit pointed out, to get twisted around so that there was no chance the ball would even touch the ground and allow these refs to overturn that. That was the point where it looked like, hey, maybe Georgia got a little something for this game.
Yeah, it was a great catch. And like you said, Bennett, you could see it in his eyes, man. He was freaked out at the beginning of the game. And I think was probably more nerves about where he was and what he was doing than it was Alabama. Although when you see those monsters coming at you, it's got to make you a little bit nervous. But you could see him start to calm down as the game went, and he started to get better and better.
Sure. I mean, look, you heard that last clip we played about Bryce Young throwing to Slade Bolden. BY had two Georgia Dogs were in his face. He was kind of falling, fading, and less of a throw and more of a basketball shot over the top of them to get it to Bolden. And the fact that he had to put that much air on the ball to get it over those two linebackers was what allowed the Georgia defensive back, Lewis Seen, to step up and get to Bolden. Bolden only needed about 1.5 yards, 2 yards to get a first down and change the complexion of the game. But because Georgia had guys in Young's face, he had to basically jump shot that over them. The ball floated so long, Seen was able to get a read, get an angle, and lay lumber on Slade Bolden. This was what impacted, for both sides of the ball, this is what impacted that. Both quarterbacks under fire, under pressure. In that case, Stetson Bennett was able to step into the face of that pressure and deliver a big-time shot to George Pickens. Georgia would falter out in the red zone, though, kick the field goal, 3-3 at this point. Let's take a break. When we come back, the play that I think absolutely was the most single important play of the game. I think it changed the fortunes of this game. I think it turned the tide for the Dogs. Pardon the pun. I'll tell you who and what when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's at the helm. You're listening to the award-winning Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate.
You see.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Say about my friends at QC Kinetics. Listen, if you were suffering from knee pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, ankle pain, lower back pain, joint pain, finger toe pain, foot and hand pain, if you have tendons or ligaments or muscles that are messed up on you, there's a reason for it. It's because when you're younger, your body is able to regenerate connective tissue. It's able to heal up damaged tissue. But as you get older, the ability of your body to regenerate and to heal those injuries, it starts to slow. And in some cases, it just stops. And you're going to get told you got to have a replacement, right? We got to go do surgery. We got to do a hip replacement, a knee replacement. Well, before you sign off on that, I want you to call my friends at QC Kinetics at 864-448-3772. And I want you to mention the Rob Brown Show. And I want you to get a free consultation to let QC Kinetics tell you how their non-surgical regenerative therapy can help you. This non-surgical therapy helps your body to regenerate injured connective tissue, to heal the connective tissue that has been banged up and cannot regenerate itself, and to get you back in the action sooner rather than later. You want to find out how? Go to their website at qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com. Mention the Rob Brown Show, get the first consultation for free, and let QC Kinetics tell you how they can help you get feeling better, faster, healthy, and naturally. It's our friends at QC Kinetics.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The Carolina Panthers are going to bring back quarterback P.J. Walker. He has signed a new one-year deal. He was set for exclusive rights free agency. So there's
no laws when you're drinking claws, Keegan. However, there is a law in that you can't drink claws when you're working.
Yeah, I would probably not allow that.
Yeah, I'm going to suspect Lonzo would go full boss mode if I rolled up with a cooler full of White Claws.
Because I like my job.
Yeah, correct. Me too. No, that is a monster.
I also in the wrong time slot, but you know.
They are in action this evening.
I had to go monster because your boy went to bed at like 3:15 this morning after scrubbing through highlights of that game a second time to make sure I was prepared today. But, ladies and gentlemen, and Lonzo's, I do it for the people. I do it for the people. Josh says you wiggle when you wiggle while you jiggle. I would go you jiggle while you wiggle, right? Like the wiggle causes the jiggle. If the jiggle causes,
unless you're in really good shape,
but then there's no jiggle.
Yeah, it's just wiggle,
right?
Yeah.
If you got something to jiggle, it's going to jiggle when you wiggle. And Stetson Bennett and me, we both got wiggle. I got a little more jiggle. Josh says, I wonder if Pickens said, "Oh yeah, it's a Kool-Aid." when he caught that
have you
ball.
booked me for my braces
Uh-oh.
yet? I'm starting middle
Steven
school
got
this
the
year.
Rona.
Everything happening
He said,
this summer,
COVID sucks. I
don't have
ache
the
everywhere.
time
And
or
how does
even
my
the money.
hair
Don't
hurt?
worry, Mom. My affordablebraces.com not only
It is.
has braces
I
for
believe some your hair
but
absolutely
it's
can hurt.
super easy. They don't even have to use that goop that Parker has
Not
used
to
for
look at.
his.
Oh,
Come
gotcha.
on,
just
Okay,
to
I was gonna
feel.
say, I
Jerk.
actually tried
Aren't you
this
always
morning.
saying it's time
I got
to
that.
grow
I got that good hard part
Good
going.
point.
up
What's
here
that
and
website
everything.
again?
MyAffordablebraces.com.
Get well soon,
and
Steven.
it's
Stay
cheaper
strong,
than
big
our
dog.
beach trip.
Get
If
your
you were
rest.
designing the next generation of luxury
Drink some water.
crossovers, you'd want it to have everything that's
Stay away
important
from
to you,
everybody
not
else.
just an available 14-inch touchscreen and interface designed to give you what you need.
We're pulling
when
for you,
need
brother.
it,
You know
not
that.
just an advanced safety system.
You are
one
you
that's
are
designed
absolutely
to help you
VIP
protect drivers
status.
on the road,
P1
not
status,
just
buddy.
a driver-centric cockpit.
Yeah,
One
get well
that's
soon.
tech
So I was
that
writing.
actually helps
You know,
can
I don't
block
want
out
to
all the noise and
interrupt
focus
Rob
on what
while he's
matters.
doing that.
That's what
so.
you can get with the all-new 2022 Lexus NX. To discover more about this,
When I had it, I
visit Lexus.com.
had trouble breathing and everything hurt, so I just didn't move, except for my hands, because I worked every day. I had coronavirus because I'm Lonzo.
Bon Secours Wellness Arena, April 11th. Get tickets this Friday at LiveNation.com.
I work from home, by the way. Not
All
here.
their anthems for one incredible night. Presented by Hampton Water. For more, check BonJovi.com.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale
Bon
now.
Jovi on
the
a
2022
Monday night.
Upstate Golf
I mean, I'm
Card
still
gets you a
going.
round of golf at 10 Premier.
But come on.
Thank you, Josh.
Uh-oh, Josh fighting the Rona as well. Uh-oh. The Rob Brown Show is plagued. Hope you feel better, fella. Hope it's not kicking your butt. You know, there's a bunch of people that's not doing much too, and there's a bunch of people that's kicking their butt. I hope you guys are able to power through this. We need you, people. All right, a couple of texts that have come in so far on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Texter says, I wiggle with a little jiggle. My wife usually laughs at me. I'm still married, though. Not sure how. Let's be honest, Texter. She likes the jiggle a little bit. She loves the wiggle, but she likes a little bit of the jiggle. All right?
Did you jiggle before the aisle? That's the question. Or did the jiggle come after?
Was the jiggle pre-ring or post-ring? If you had the jiggle pre-ring, right, it means she likes the jiggle. Now, if you were no jiggle pre-ring and then you earn the jiggle post-ring, that's where there's a little question mark about whether she really likes the jiggle.
Unless, let's be honest, she got some jiggle herself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it happens.
Yeah. So that's why I look the way I look now, because if any woman does enough drugs to ever decide to marry me, Lonzo, I'm going into it with jiggle. So there's no down the line like, I can't believe you're not in shape. Yeah, I was never in shape. The only shape I was in was round. All right? You came into this knowing there was jiggle with the wiggle, baby. You knew that when we got into this thing. All right? That's how it's going to be. Texas says, Rob, did Saban gift the game to Kirby? Seems there were no emotions from the Alabama sideline. No, not at all. They didn't gift that game. You think Nick Saban gives a damn about his assistant coaches doing well? 26 times coming into that game. 26 times Nick Saban went sideline to sideline with one of his former assistants. You know what the record going into that game last night was in the 26 times he squared off with his assistant?
26-0.
25-1. And the only one was Jimbo Fisher this year. This year.
If Saban should have been mad at anything, he should have been mad at the fact that they got in the red zone so many times and came away with 3 and should have been getting touchdowns. That was the problem with last night. And it was such a tight game until near the end. I mean, it was still anyone's game. And even the announcers were saying it's just one mistake. One play is going to decide this. And really, it comes down to just a couple plays decided the game.
Yeah, exactly right. Another texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, watching Georgia fans call for Stetson's head last night, then immediately making him a folk hero of legend status was almost more entertaining than the game. I don't know if you saw this, though. I was scrolling Twitter last night as this game is playing out. And at one point, JT Daniels was trending on Twitter, right? JT Daniels, the backup quarterback, was trending on Twitter. I clicked on it to see why he was trending, and it wasn't Bama fans. It was all Georgia fans going, when are we going to replace Stetson Bennett with JT Daniels? He's killing me right now. He's killing me. And then Stetson Bennett goes out there and starts dropping dimes on fools, and all of a sudden Stetson Bennett is a legend. All of a sudden he's the guy, right? Man, y'all talk like, and y'all, I mean, Georgia fans talk like you weren't busting the man's chops coming into the game. You weren't busting his chops early in the game, and then all of a sudden, Stetson Bennett's getting a statue outside the hedges.
I think you're unfairly going after Georgia fans because I think a majority of fan bases do that. Just happened to be Georgia last night.
Maybe you just did it during the game. All right, the play that broke this game. The play that absolutely broke this game. This is going to be clip number 5, ladies and gentlemen. We got 12 and a half left in the second quarter. Bryce Young drops back to pass, and on the outside is Jamison Williams, a transfer from The Ohio State University. Running the outside slot, cuts in, runs directly up the middle field, wide open. Bryce Young finds him, and it sounds like this.
Much needed rest, Kirk. That long drive give him a chance to recover. Trying to get after Young, who launches to Williams, who's wide open down the field. How, you wonder? He's to the Georgia 35. The main target staying down, though, and gripping his knee. Oh, my goodness. It was John Mechie at the same time of the game in Atlanta. It went down with a knee injury.
He went right down the middle of this defense. Safeties are both to the outside and works right down the middle behind the linebackers. Safeties are held to the outside with outside perimeter routes. And then at the end of the play right here, making a cut.
Awkward step. You see him grimace. Being helped off.
Jamison Williams, who is at this point, because of the loss of Mechie earlier in the year, the only vertical threat that Alabama has at this point, right? They are down to effectively Slade Bolden and Jamo Williams at this point. Williams is running down the field. It gets wide open, catches the ball, but it's kind of on his backside. So he's got to turn his body back towards the offense. He catches the ball, and as he turns back, his left knee kind of lands awkwardly, and something pops. You could see it when they showed the replay looking directly at him from the end zone. You can see something in the knee pop. He folds to the ground, takes the catch down to the ground. But at this point, he goes down to a knee injury. And Lonzo, I genuinely think that this was the biggest play of the game, because when Alabama lost their vertical pass offense, Georgia was able to start putting one extra man in the box. They were able to bring extra heat because they were able to trust their DBs to either go one-on-one or two deep coverage and protect the deep part of the field from, unfortunately, underwhelming wide receivers, guys that weren't quite as quick as Jamo. Losing that vertical threat, and I don't think I'm going too big on this statement, losing that vertical threat, Lonzo, lost Alabama the game, because at that point, the home run ball and what they were built on this year was not an option.
It's not just that, but also you could tell that it hurt them emotionally, see him go down the way he did. And I mean, you don't want to see any injury, but when something like that, it's just gruesome, and it messes with you when you got to go back on the field.
Yeah, it does. It gets in your head. I don't care what you say, but again, tactically speaking, when Alabama lost the home run threat and had to play small ball, that's exactly what Georgia wanted. They wanted this to be a battle at the line of scrimmage. They wanted this to come down to, can your offensive line beat our defensive line? Because they did in the SEC championship game, but on paper, Georgia's defensive line should have won, and last night they did. All right, let's go about 3 minutes forward in the game. At this point, Bryce Young is starting to have to dink and dunk, and he made an absolute NFL throw in clip number 6 when he found the big tight end at Latu, and not just a good ball, the perfect ball to set up Bama's next score.
But a big job to do in the meantime. Young across the middle. It's caught. And Latu running down the field. Can they track the tight end down? They try to punch the ball free. They can't. He's inside the 10.
Chris, Ringo, the corner, has inside leverage on the big tight end. So he sets him up, works to the outside. He's on an island against the bigger tight end. Accuracy, the throw, gets around Ringo, and his tight end, Latu, can go. Great speed.
That was a phenomenal play. Not just a setup, because, again, at this point, Bama knows that their passing game has just lost about 20 yards of verticality. It's all short game now. So they end up creating an ISO play where they get the cornerback on Latu, the tight end. And once they see, and I thought that this was brilliant, Latu sees that the cornerback's playing to the inside, right? Which in that spot's not what you want to do, but Bama had been throwing over the middle at this point. So the cornerback lines up to the inside of the tight end. The tight end runs up, and if you go back and you watch this play, this is what I'm talking about when I say Alabama is one of the most disciplined teams in football. As Latu gets to where he's going to come out of his break, when you see him break down, you'll actually see his helmet go to the inside, right? He looks to the inside as if that's where he's going to cut. So the cornerback maintains that inside position. Latu then cuts to the outside, but it's not like a 90-degree cut. He just kind of starts to fade to the outside because he knows he's got the cornerback in his hip pocket at this point. And if he fades and Bryce Young can drop it over the outside shoulder, there is no way that Georgia's cornerback can defend this pass. Latu's got him by like 6 inches. So instead of a 90-degree outcut where the cornerback could jump that route, lay out, and knock the ball down, he cuts it about 45-degree angles, puts the cornerback in his back pocket, and Bryce Young delivers an NFL caliber football right over his left shoulder. They would drive down and end up with a field goal after this pass. A 37-yarder. It's 9-3 Alabama at this point. So we go to clip 7, 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first half here. Georgia is on their way into the red zone, and Dallas Turner has something to say about it for the Tide.
Bootleg wants to take a shot downfield, is slammed to the ground. That was Dallas Turner, that other talented young inside linebacker.
Boy, he is relentless. You know, you think about Will Anderson Jr., and here you've got a tackle and a back trying to get around to help. Watch Georgia. They've got a tackle and then the back white trying to help. He goes all the way around them both and eventually is able to make that sack.
Tall, long from Fort Lauderdale. He's the next elite edge rusher for this defense.
That is Dallas Turner, who was a man on a mission last night. Not a lot of stats for Turner, but a lot of blow-ups, right? Like he disrupted a lot of what Georgia wanted to do with Stetson Bennett. That one was a big one. It slowed down a Georgia drive that looked like it was going to get deep into Alabama territory by dropping them back. Georgia would have to settle for a 47-yard field goal, and it was perfect. 9-6 Bama at this point, and that is the score we would take into halftime. Alabama with the 9-6 lead in a field goal fest. Let me ask you this question, because I got into a fight about this on Twitter last night, Lonzo. If you had to give me one adjective to describe the first half of that game last night, how would you have described it?
Defensive.
But was it offensive and how defensive it was? Like, was it bad?
No. I absolutely loved it. I mean, sometimes are inept, but that was not the problem last night. The problem was you've got two excellent lines. You've got defenders back in the face of the quarterbacks. There were some really good plays, but the defenses on both sides were excellent in that first half.
100% agree. 100% agree. I got a text from a texter last night. I was live tweeting the game from the ESPN Upstate account, which, by the way, during big games, make sure you follow us at ESPN Upstate on Twitter, because I will live tweet the biggest games. I'll be doing some of that during playoff weekend. If you want to, you can listen to the NFL playoffs right here on ESPN Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Your home for exclusive coverage, every playoff game, including the Super Bowl, right here on the Big Stick. You're welcome.
If you want to listen to it somewhere else, you can't.
That's true. That is correct. That is correct. Anyway, at EOJ Epton tweeted last night and said, defensive games are fun, laughing emoji. Tell me you're a delusional college football fan without telling me. See, this is the problem that I have. Everybody thinks that we need like 49-47 football games to have a good time. I thought last night was great. You had two good offenses that were battling against two very good defenses. And you're right. Sometimes it looks like a defensive battle, and it's not. It's just two inept offenses. Last night were two good offenses that were getting slapped by two very good defenses. He went on to say, I'm sure there's some European soccer matches you can tune into instead. Imagine watching a half of a national championship game that was literally a field goal kicking contest and thinking, this is great football. I must say, the ability to listen to podcasts every day and not listen to the local boat heads was 100% worth the investment in a new car.
But you noticed something there.
He was interacting with me constantly through the game.
And he used a keyword that you would only know unless you.
That was a great defensive matchup, and I was here for it. All right, we are now at halftime. It's 9-6 Bama. When we come back, we'll jump into the second half and see what went right for Georgia. Break down the X's and O's. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo, and this is the Star Award-winning Best Sports Talk radio show in South Carolina, the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. All right, pardon me, folks.
No, because I got to go. You can't go if I go. Unless you do the thing. You can do the thing.
Okay, we'll be right back, streamer. No.
Because all I see is yesterday's.
I didn't change anything on it today because we're just doing championship stuff today.
Okay, well.
Not making any changes.
Okay, cool. Well, that helps.
Yeah. All my show preps in my head today. All right, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Let's jump back into the game. We've gotten to halftime. It's 9-6 Bama here. Early in the third quarter, we end up, clip number 8, Lonzo, Bryce Young the Heisman Trophy winner, finds himself in a spot where they are needing a touchdown here. Nobody has broken through the end zone at this point. BY sees a receiver down the sideline, throws it deep, and this happened.
No doubt, Holly. We've seen a couple of guys make plays. The passing game has actually been clicking. They just haven't found the end zone. Young launches downfield to Billingsley, and it's picked off by Smith. The safety was lurking back there. The tight end was well covered, and the Dogs with tonight's first takeaway.
Boy, right on cue, talking about somebody's going to have to make a play, and Billingsley can't get off of the coverage from Poole. He's kind of locked up there, gets hands on him. The ball sails where he thought Billingsley would be able to get to, and Smith comes over for the interception.
We went live on the Facebook stream at halftime. Mark Ryan and I did. And we're kicking back our thoughts on the first half. And, I said that I thought that whoever could come up with the big play early in the second half would give themselves a real chance to pull away. And Mark Ryan responded by saying he agreed and thought it felt like the floodgates were about to open for somebody, right? These two defenses were holding each other's offensive back, and it just felt like whoever got the first big blow, whoever was able to create a turnover or was able to punch one in first would kind of open the floodgates a little bit. And that would happen as Bryce Young would throw that pick down the right-hand side, picked off by Smith. However, Georgia couldn't capitalize. They would go 3 and out and have to punt on their possession, but it did flip the field there as Alabama's next drive would start off deep inside their own territory. They end up with the ball on the 3-yard line coming out, and it looked here like this was going to be the start of Alabama's offense. 10:36 to play in the third quarter. Bama's got 2nd and 9 on their own 3-yard line, and Brian Robinson Jr. finally gets to open one up.
Robinson finally making a play, breaking tackles, showing some determination, and that gets a roar from the Bama fans. Have waited all night to see a run like that.
He broke through 2 arm tackles, maybe a third. Carter, 88, gets his hands. He's working down the line. He breaks through that arm tackle. Lewis Seen comes up. That is a physical safety. He gets through him. The corner, Ringo, he works through him. And a 4th Georgia defender.
So at this point, Brian Robinson Jr. has gotten going. Alabama and the Georgia at the halftime, both of them had like 25 yards or fewer in rushing, right? Neither team was able to break one open, and that was the first big run. Alabama would then take the ball into Georgia territory, clip number 10. Rijkaard sets up for a 48-yard field goal with 3:18 left to play in the third quarter. This would stretch the lead to 6 for Alabama and put Georgia in desperate need of a touchdown. But instead, the one thing that we barely talked about last week, special teams, comes into play for the Dogs.
The reliable Rijkaard tries to make it 4 for 4 tonight, but it's blocked. The Dogs are very good at blocking field goals. That's the 3rd this season, and the lead is still 3. It's a big Devontae Wyatt.
Right in the middle. You get a big push by Wyatt, 88. Also Carter. Looks like Carter's left hand knocked that ball away.
Rijkaard's 48-yard effort is blocked with 3:18 in the third quarter. Georgia would hang on to a 3-point deficit. Clip 11, just a play later, James Cook says, Brian Robinson Jr., if you can reel one off, so can I. The linebackers for Alabama at this point getting aggressive, and this is what I said. Discipline was going to come into this game late. At this point, Alabama's linebackers have been so good about run stuffing that I thought they started being over aggressive. I thought they started to attack. Georgia runs a nice little counter, right? They bring the left guard and left tackle around the outside. You would end up seeing James Cook see that. Those two kick-out blocks, the linebackers over pursued to the outside and set themselves up for a block, and James Cook did this.
Cook makes a cut. He's got blazing speed. James Cook in a foot race. Can the Tide track him down? They finally get him inside the 15. Battle saved the touchdown, but the Dogs instantly threatened.
Nice counter play here. They pull the backside and pick up a nice couple blocks. It's one of the first times. Remember, they had a couple runs by White, but this is a different kind of run because of the vision and the cutback and then the speed. That's just natural instincts as a ball carrier. Instead of keeping that play side after he got through the line of scrimmage, felt that defense over pursuing, cut back on Hellam's number 2, and then he's out in the open with that speed.
I'm going to put up a video of that play later because this was the play that I think kind of got Georgia to the point where they're going, we can do this, right? Alabama's linebackers over pursue around the right-hand side. When they do, they get kicked out. Cook sees the cutback, makes the cutback. 67 yards would bring Georgia down deep into Alabama territory. A Bama face mask a couple of plays later would get Georgia to the Bama 1.5-yard line. And in clip number 12, Zeus White would finally bully his way into the end zone for the first Georgia touchdown of the game with $1:20 to play in the third.
And Zeus White muscles in the first touchdown of this championship game, and Georgia claims its first lead.
It's almost 700 pounds to follow for White. Carter, and there's the big fella right here. Watch this move right to the inside. Boom, the push, the power, the strength, and a touchdown for White.
Call it thunder and lightning. Well, lightning struck to put him in scoring position, and then thunder, White powers in for his 11th touchdown run of the season.
An absolute bully of a run by Zeus White to give Georgia a 13-12 lead at this point. 14-20 to play. We're inside the fourth quarter now. Bryce Young needs to make something happen. Clip 13, he finds Hall right down the middle, and Bama puts themselves in position to go ahead.
Suddenly, Bama inside the 35. Young launching downfield. Catch is made by Hall. Dropped one earlier. No mistake that time. He beat Chris Smith.
They brought a safety blitz off the edge, created one-on-one right here. Bryce Young, he had a lot of this in the SEC championship game. Time to throw, and you're right. This time, the freshman secures the ball for that big game.
All right, so Bama would end up finding themselves down 13-12, 1 point after this. And when we come back here in just a minute, the second mark of controversy on this game, the Georgia fans were angry. The ACC refs got it right. We'll hit that and the finish to this game when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Berg.
Wednesday, sunshine high 50 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny high 53. Friday, sunshine, another high 53. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Bucci's at ESPN Upstate.
Well, I see something I have to watch when I go home.
What's that?
Cena's on McAfee, and he's wearing his Peacemaker uniform. Even the gloves.
My managers. Are you sure?
We actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. In times like these, we understand that clients want proactive and guidance. You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios. No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios to their specific goal needs. We even offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement. Very high commissions. So we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interest first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Securities involved with risk involved. Actually, company business practice. EP offers a variety of training and service. Fund available to cover a portion of your training. Stop waiting and start growing. CMEP.org. 1C3. CMEP affiliate. Podcasters Association.
Just Energy Spot needs an extra pair of hands. One who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
You're just not coming in today, but you have that.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. Indeed you do. InstaMatch instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing it.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So I heard you.
This report is sponsored by Freedom Plasma. Did you know blood plasma collected by Freedom Plasma is used for several life-saving therapies? And did you know you can earn hundreds of dollars safely donating yours? Go to freedomplasma.com or call 864-377-8115. Start earning cash and saving lives.
All right, we're in the fourth quarter now, ladies and gentlemen, and clip 14, controversy strikes the game.
Well, that loss after a nice first down gain makes it 3rd and 8. Here comes the pressure. Bennett immediately on the run. He'll be chased down. Tries to make a desperation heave. Harris had him in the grasp. That ball nowhere near back to the line of scrimmage.
No, I think he was calling that. I don't know if that ball came out of his hand before his arm came forward, but the referee was right there.
Discussing whether it perhaps was a fumble. He threw
the beanbag down.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Alabama.
Alabama recovered that? And Stetson Bennett say, please rule that an incomplete pass and not another crucial turnover against Alabama.
And again, let's not forget the job that this Alabama defense did on 3rd down of pressuring the quarterback.
So in Bill's view, that ball is out of the hand before it comes forward.
The ruling on the field stands. Alabama football at the 16-yard line.
Wow.
And that was the correct call, ladies and gentlemen. The ball, as Bennett brought the arm back, the ball came out of the hand. It was not a throw forward so much as his hand was effectively closed and just kind of pushed it forward. And the Alabama defender did have his toes in bounds. Lonzo, to me, I think they got that exactly correct.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the biggest question was whether the defender had his toe in, and then the awesome camera work showed that little sliver of green in there. Yeah.
Changed the game because a minute and a half later, Latu would be found inside the end zone, a 2-yard pass from Bryce Young, and the Tide would reclaim the lead.
Pressure. Young. Touchdown! On the run, he found Latu. Tides first touchdown, and Alabama reclaims the lead with 10:14 to play. Full sprint. He found a kneeling tight end in the end zone.
The two here, and I want you to watch what he does at the top of his route. See him push there at the end of the route, gets the separation. The defensive back's on his backside. The safety, Christopher Smith, nothing he can do. The bigger Latu at 250 pounds, kind of throwing him and then getting back inside and man-to-man coverage. No one there to pick him up.
The 2-point conversion would fail. It's 18-13 Bama at this point. 8:15 left to go in the fourth quarter. Stetson Bennett, the fourth. This is where JT Daniels was trending on Twitter, and SB4 said, I see y'all.
And now another flag. Bennett launching. Mitchell. Caught it. Touchdown, Georgia. With a free play, the Dogs retake the lead.
Outside, defense, number 50. That is the climb.
What a drive for Stetson Bennett. 40-yard touchdown to finish it.
That was Stetson Bennett going yad after the successful PAT. Georgia would take a 1-point lead back. 3:36 in the fourth quarter. Stetson Bennett, the fourth, would finally find Brock Bowers to go up 26-18. And then with a $1:09 left, Bryce Young would get pick sixth to call it a game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go X's and O's coming up in the next hour, but we've also got breaking news out of Major League Baseball. Good for fans? Question mark? He asked unoptimistically. Which I guess I could have just said pessimistically, but you get the point. I'll tell you what the breaking news out of Major League Baseball, and we'll start looking ahead to the NFL playoff. We got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You can hear them all here on ESPN Upstate, by the way. We'll start looking ahead to our playoff round, tell you who we think is going to move on and who's not when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Panthers are going to bring back quarterback P.J. Walker. He has signed a new one-year deal. He was set for exclusive rights free agency, so the Panthers just had to offer him a contract, and he was going to be locked in for the upcoming season. Panthers continue to look for a new offensive coordinator. Multiple names have been reported. The latest, according to NFL Network, they want to interview Houston passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach Pep Hamilton. College basketball, Wofford, they come up short, losing to UNC Greensboro Monday night. They fall 58-54. South Carolina basketball, they are in action this evening as they match up against Tennessee in Knoxville. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard offside? Upstate. Thursday.
Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about?
The Portland Trailblazers begin a 6-game road trip.
All right, what's your name? All right, hang on, Chris.
The Trailblazers and Nuggets.
Thursday night at 9:30. The NBA plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Morning.
And check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown Lockdown.
Represents Freedom Radio. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. The curse of the Peach State has been lifted. All Georgia needed was for the Atlanta Braves to figure it out. They unlocked the key and the floodgates open for the state of Georgia, ladies and gentlemen. And the Bulldogs end up roughing out. I'll tell you what, since we didn't get a chance to play the last 3 clips, Chris, hang on. I'm coming to you in just a minute, but I want to get these in here. Clip number 16, 8:15 left to go in the game. At this point, the Dawgs are trailing the Alabama Crimson Tide when Stetson Bennett IV decides 40 yards, and I'm tired of hearing about JT Daniels.
And now another flag. Bennett launching. Mitchell. Caught it. Touchdown, Georgia. With a free play, the Dogs retake the lead.
Offside. Defense. Number 50. That is the clock. Touchdown.
What a drive for Stetson Bennett. 40-yard touchdown to finish it.
Then 3:36 left to play in the fourth quarter. Stetson Bennett IV. What did we say yesterday? Brock Bowers was the key to this game for Georgia, right? Be aggressive on the D-line and utilize the big tight end because the dude is the Gronk to Stets Bennett's Brady. Brock Bowers, because Alabama at this point starts stacking the middle. They are trying to get to Stetson Bennett, disrupt the offense. Another goal at this point would do nothing but end this game. Stetson Bennett IV realizes it. Quick hit out to Brock Bowers for this.
Like the spot at all. It's 3rd and 1. They're going to throw for it. Bowers has got it. He's got a blocker. Touchdown, Georgia. And there is a flag down, though. Hold on. There's a flag near the line of scrimmage. Bennett says it's on Bama.
I think they hit him. I think they hit Stetson Bennett after he released the football. Jordan Battle on a blitz came through and hit Stetson Bennett in the face.
You had a feeling the guy as talented as Brock Bowers, who's made an impact from the moment he arrived on campus, had a big game in the opener against Clemson.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 9. Defense. Result of the play is a touchdown. That 15-yard penalty will be carried over to the ensuing.
Scored a late touchdown in a losing cause. Took him a long time, Kirk, tonight to get involved, but that is a massive play.
Bowers had a couple of dink and dunks before that, but this was the one that broke it open, 26-18, Georgia. And then how else could it end but a $1:09 left to play, and Georgia's defense had one for the road.
Biggest 3rd down in Bryce Young's career. You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone. And Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide.
I thought Chris Fowler was going to fall out a couple of times last night. My man got deep into it for a few. You heard, listen, there's a difference between an excited play call and and Fowler was on the ladder multiple times yesterday evening.
It's almost like that. Because it seems rather loud too. So
yeah, the band's right down on the field, and it was a loud damn stadium last night. But so that's how it would end. Bryce Young will get one more chance. He would be sacked on the final play of the game, which was only fitting for the Georgia defense to be able to go out there and take a little credit and have a little glory, hallelujah on the way out the door. Good on the Dawgs. They did exactly what I said, right? Attack the line of scrimmage like you're trying to catch charges. And on the flip side of the ball, make sure that Brock Bowers is involved. They did some dink and ducks here and there, just enough to have him considered but not accounted for. He scores what would be the penultimate touchdown, but the one that broke this thing open. Well done to the Georgia Bulldogs for how they handled last night. All right, let's get to a phone call or two, ladies and gentlemen. Chris has been ever so patiently hanging on the line. Let's get Chris in here. What up, Chris? Glad to have you, big dog. Thanks for taking a minute.
What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I want to say, first and foremost, I did not watch that incestuous debacle last night. Didn't see a single snap of it. Have no interest in watching it. But I do want to comment on Chris Fowler's call right there at the end. I just want to ask, what was the score of the game when that pick six was thrown? Do you remember what it was?
The score at that point was 26-18 Georgia.
Something interesting, and if you go back and listen to the sound, Fowler says, and the Bulldogs cover the Crimson Tide.
No. He said, nope. He said, and the Bulldogs will conquer the Crimson Tide.
Conquer. I thought he said the word cover.
No, I thought the same thing.
Is he pulling a Musburger and alluding to the gambling line here? If Georgia or if Bama scores a touchdown but doesn't get the 2-point conversion and fails to cover, I was reading too much into it. I thought he said the word cover.
I said the same thing. What had happened last night is somebody that had Bama plus 3.5. I was thinking it, right? Like I was thinking, well, Bama's going to lose this game, and that's fine. At least I'll get the cover if they can put one in the end zone. But he said Georgia will conquer the Crimson Tide.
Which makes much more sense.
Correct.
So no problem. But I was more wanting to call in just in general. Obviously, you have something called a Stetson Bennett the fourth that is now a apparently in heavy quotation marks national title winning quarterback, despite not being the best team in his own conference. That's a discussion for another day. But one of the things, and I don't want to blame you, Rob, or even the media in general when it comes to sports, you have 3 hours of entertainment to fill every day that you're on the air. You know, these networks are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week talking about sports, and it's a very popular topic. But it is time to retire the phrase, can you win insert goal here with blank, insert player here? Because the answer to that question has always been and always will be yes. You can win whatever your goal is. I don't care what it is, Super Bowl, national championship, whatever goal you want to put in place. You can win with whatever quarterback you want to put out there if you surround them with the correct talent. The way the question needs to be changed and it needs to be framed as we go into Wild Card Weekend, as we're going to have the legacies of quarterbacks being made on a game-to-game basis, and we pass these snap judgments that, you know, the Browns will never win with Baker Mayfield or whatever the case may be. The way to change the question is, can you win a Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger as the highest paid player on your roster? Can you win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield making $40 million a year? You've completely changed the question at that point, because sure, you can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. Sure, you can win a Super Bowl even with this iteration of Ben Roethlisberger that at this point in his career looks like he's throwing with the wrong arm. But if you're able to pay them peanuts to do so, and you can surround them with overwhelming talent, sure, you can win a Super Bowl with it. So it's not that a team is incapable of winning because of quarterback X. It's because of what percentage of the salary cap they take up. Same thing in the college game. It's not, can you win a national championship with Stetson Bennett? The answer to that was always yes. The difference is, can you win a national championship with Stetson Bennett throwing it 40 times a game? The answer to that is no, and that's okay. That's the way to evaluate these situations with rosters and talent, is not just, oh, well, if you swap quarterbacks, well, no duh. Bryce Young is a more talented quarterback than Stetson Bennett is. But with what you have surrounding in talent, with what you have in the system, you know, last night's game was not an indictment to say Stetson Bennett is better than Bryce Young. That would be absurd to say. But in the context of the way the teams were built, the way the games went, within the system that was put in place for Bennett, he played, I'm guessing, okay enough to win a national championship.
Sure.
Helps when you get a pick six. Helps when you have great red zone defense. All those factors come into play. So let's get away from can you win such and such or such and such, and let's have a more nuanced discussion of what it is in the total scheme of fitting in as that puzzle piece at that position.
Chris, appreciate it, big dog. Thank you very much. So you know, I've never liked that question. I love the sentence, let's approach it with some more nuance. As somebody who's been doing this for 15 years, I always try to be as nuanced as possible when I talk football, but I also recognize that football is about the extremes, right? I was telling you last night about the guy that hit me on Twitter when I said, I love this game. I love this defensive struggle. I love the game that we are watching. I think we got two slug out defenses that are absolutely punching the offenses in the mouth, and the offenses are trying to figure out how to get through it. And the guy hits me on Twitter and goes, you're a European soccer fan. Imagine thinking a field goal game is good football, et cetera, et cetera. To which I said, it is, because there's 22 guys that go out there on the field, not 11, right? If you only like touchdowns and the only good football are 49-47 games, then why the hell aren't you just playing Madden on rookie mode, right? Just play Madden on rookie mode if that's the way you feel. Just go out there and play Madden on rookie mode and score all the touchdowns you want. But the guy who hit me, I thought about it, and I went back and checked his profile, Lonzo. Turns out he's an Auburn Tigers fan. Auburn is watching their number 1 and number 2 rivals play each other for the national championship while they are once again stuck at home after losing to both of them. So what happened here was he took analysis of a game that he hates because his two biggest rivals are in it and took it as Rob trying to boost up his rivals as opposed to just calling the game what it was.
But we appreciate you taking the time to interact
and listen
with the station and Rob.
True.
Yes.
True. I'll give you one more thing that happened when we talk about nuance in football, right? I said, so there was a play action pass that Alabama ran, right, on the goal line stand. Now, it was the play before they had the touchdown to Latu, the touchdown pass that gave them the 18-13 lead. But right before that, Bama and Bill O'Brien went play action, right? So they fake it to, I think it was Brian Robinson Jr., it doesn't matter. They fake it to the running back going right. They actually pull the backside guard and tackle, so they run a counter play action where the backside guard and tackle pull left to right. They send the running back after them, and I'm watching this play develop, and the run on this play, Lonzo, would have scored. The run on this play would have scored because they kicked out the linebacker. The hole opened up from tackle to tight end. They were able to kick out the over-pursuing linebacker. This actually would have won the game or would have scored a touchdown there. Instead, BY pulls the ball, bootlegs back around to the other side, and throws a pass that goes over the head of the wide receiver. It's incomplete, and Alabama's got to set up for a third down. They would score on the next play, but that's all I said, right? I said, quote, Bama finally goes to the play action, and funny enough, the run would have scored there. Bama sealed the edge, and there was a hole big enough to drive a truck through. Instead, Bryce Young pulls it, and it gets knocked down. Run the damn ball, end quote. That's my tweet, right? I got hit on a retweet from a cat named @EduCaptAmerica, @EduCaptAmerica, who, by the way, since this happened, I think has blocked me on Twitter, but I'm not entirely sure. I do know that he has since deleted the tweets that I responded to him. But he said the ESPN Upstate account is supposed to be neutral. If Rob Brown wants to tweet pro-Alabama takes, he should use his personal account. Now, Alonzo, the tweet I just described, was there anything pro-Alabama about it? Or did I just say, had they run the ball, they would have scored there?
You gave your opinion.
Yeah.
But also makes it sound like it's the opinion of the station, which I guess it is at that moment
again,
because you're getting it.
I tagged my name on the bottom of it. Everybody knew or was supposed to have known that it was me tweeting. It was a personal opinion, but it wasn't an opinion. It was analysis, right? There's a difference between opinion and analysis. I wasn't pro-Bama. I was pointing out, had they run the ball on that play, they would have scored. Had they run the ball on that play, it's a touchdown. So he responds with, if you want to be pro-Bama, go back to your personal account, to which I said, this account is neutral. If you're conditioned to think that analysis equals endorsement, you're taking in bad football content elsewhere. My take wasn't in favor of Alabama. It was making a point, and it was correct. To which he responded saying that I was wrong and I blah, 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 blah. Look, nuance gets lost when passion gets involved, unfortunately. When people feel very passionate about a take, then any criticism about that becomes an attack, right? And I actually pointed out that unless you are letting your passion get involved, sometimes people don't care, right? I did not have, if you'll pardon the pun, a dog in that fight last night. It didn't matter to me. Mark Ryan asked me, he said, as professionals, we're supposed to be neutral, but I always have a rooting interest. There's always my rooting interest was I wanted to see Cincinnati and Michigan. I didn't care who won last night. Either I was going to get to see the greatest college football coach of all time continue his legacy, or I was going to get to see the Padawan become the Jedi Master by knocking off Yoda. One or the other, right? I didn't have a dog in the fight. That was not pro-Bama. It was just analysis. Nuance is hard, to answer what Chris was saying. Nuance is hard in sports because we have passions, and we're kind of trained to think that anybody who's not propping us up are trying to knock us down. That's not true. Sometimes you're just standing in the middle. I had no reason to prop up or knock down Alabama or Georgia last night. I was breaking down a game with nuance and got attacked multiple times on Twitter because of it. Multiple times. Including one cat who felt the need to throw a homophobic slur at me at one point, like it's 6th grade. Stop. Not saying your team is the greatest and I love them more than my own family. Not saying that doesn't mean I'm attacking your team. It just means I was breaking down a football game like I'm paid to do. Texas says, snooze fest game last night. How much longer is this the topic of the day? Two things about that. Number one, Lonzo, was that a snooze fest game last night?
No, that was very interesting.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I can see how you consider it a snooze fest if you're anti-rematches, and I get that, but it was not a snooze fest. That was a good game. Good game. If that game gets played in week 4, it's the game of the year. But it wasn't. It was played for a championship, and you're mad about that. That's what it comes down to. If you were calling this game a snooze fest or whatever, the only thing that you are just mad about the fact that it was a rematch and you don't like that it was an all-SEC rematch. I got news for you. Till somebody else comes up and knocks the SEC off the mountain, this is the future. Get used to it. And by the way, had you told me before the show started, Lonzo, that I was going to have a texter or a caller that was going to tell me I'm bored of talking about the national championship game in football, move on, I'd have called you a liar. But here we are.
Well, I'm not surprised because I think for the most part, this is doing that general thing again. If your team's not in it, you're not really that interested. And I think that's a more of a college football thing than it is an NFL thing. I think in the NFL, if your team's not in it, you're still more interested than you are in college because of, loyalties and all that kind of stuff.
I think a lot of people got very excited that the reign of Bama was going to be over because they did not look as good this year as they have in years past. And I think a lot of people got excited because Georgia got smoked by Bama, and it gave them a lot of belief that either Cincinnati or Michigan was going to break up the SEC party. Guys, these were the best 2 teams in college football, and there is no question about that. Lonzo's going to tell you Ohio State was one of the best 2 teams. I disagree. Ohio State lost to Michigan, who then just got pounded by the Bulldogs a week later. These were the best 2 teams in college football from start to finish. They both deserve to be there, and they put on a damn show. If you don't like it, if you are mad about it, the only thing I can imagine is that, as Lonzo pointed out, you're mad your team wasn't in it, and you're mad the SEC continues to crank out the best teams in college football, whether you like it or not. And trust me, I don't. I want more parity in football. But right now, it is what it is. Texter says, I bet you $1,000 in my firstborn child that the person was a Clemson fan who was butthurt their team sucks. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Texter says, Brandon on the Facebook stream says, if Clemson had won last night, this would be an all-day show topic. Yeah. If Clemson did what Georgia did last night, and I talked about anything but it today, I'd get fired for it. Georgia's an hour and 45 minutes down the road, guys. It is the number 3 most popular team in our area. They just won a national championship. What else am I supposed to do but break that game down? Because there were a few field goals you didn't like it? Nah, I don't believe you. You're trying to convince yourself, not me, ain't you, Texter? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo, you with ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. The Carolina Panthers are going to bring back quarterback.
Why do you feel so strongly about the term?
No. I don't feel strongly about it. I just I said it and then immediately was like, I don't know if we can get away with that. But I think I've heard you say it before now that I think about it.
Couldn't get away with it, I would have hit the button.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I guess I should have trusted
I'm not
on
paying
that.
attention, but I am. So I didn't want to pile on Clemson. I wanted to stay away from the Clemson stuff for once.
ESPN Upstate.
I'm Chelsea Messenger helping you beat the books with BetQL. The Oklahoma City Thunder are punching above their weight. They have the 4th worst record in the league and appear to be tanking, but against the numbers, they're thriving. 13 wins straight up compared to 25 wins against the spread. And more good news. Tonight, the Thunder
Look at Mark right here. Looks like someone punched Mark McGuire.
Won against the spread in their last 12 games. Against
Do you believe that I am the only Robert Brown working for this company? Like, national company?
No matter the
Hey,
or supply chain.
I am not going to fall prey to you trying to make me sound like I believe your name is generic. I'm not going to do
No,
that.
I'm asking the question. In a nationwide Fortune 500 company, do you believe I am the only Robert Brown that works for this company?
Sure.
Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Hey, it's Charlie James. It's time to call QT Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments is one of the quick lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery.
There might be a Robbie Brown. There might be a Bobby Brown.
In the official registry for this company, as far as email addresses go, I got Robert.Brown. So that means that I'm the first Robert Brown working for this company.
You know, I don't want to pick that pen up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot my pen was down there.
But, you know, I might step on it and fall. So.
I forgot it was down there.
448-3772.
If you were designing the next generation of luxury crossovers, you wanted to have everything that's important to you, not just
I'm used to being the only Lonzo. Welcome to my unique world.
where you need it, not just an advanced safety system, one that's designed to help you protect others on the road.
That was kind of dope.
One with intuitive tech that actually gets you, so you can
Trying to see what's coming in the phase there.
That's what you can get with the all-new
Yes.
2022 Lexus.
Yes.
This is a ship of some kind.
Kind of don't hate it. Keegan made us some new toys.
Looks like a battleship. I can't tell. Is that a cruiser? Is that like a single?
It looked like it.
Question is, did he design the ship or is it copyrighted? It's kind of could be iffy.
Ooh, good call.
Geico presents Motorcycle Sounds. If you hear this, and within 15 seconds, you already know that it's a 6-speed cruiser with a wheelbase of 120 inches, a V-twin 2-cylinder engine with a max torque of 110 pounds, a bright yellow body, black upholstery, chromed out wheels, a nice clean fairing, and a big dresser in the back ready to tour.
What's the thing in the background?
Well, then you probably ride a
Is that a cloud?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's like a.
Is that the symbol for the cloud?
That's what I don't know.
I'm not being critical.
No. I'm trying to figure it out too.
It looks cool. But these are questions that will be asked later by other people. So
And here's a new background if we like it, like for when we're live.
I'm enjoying the pink for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. I have long considered changing the color scheme from red and black to like hot pink and black.
So
Like Bret Hart.
if you're Bret Hart, I'm Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I'm fine with that.
Not hating that.
I'm fine with
I
that.
referred to you as the Arn Anderson to my Ric Flair last night. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. We are the two horsemen. Lonzo, the Arn Anderson to my Ric Flair, Rob Brown. Woo! By the way, did you see Arn?
Do you know what I'm doing?
I'm trying to.
This is what Arn does now.
Oh yeah.
Because of the.
Yeah. Guevara put the gun to his head the other day, the finger gun. And I like that Arn just went immediate one finger salute right back to him. Like, still, I did it down below. I did it below cam. I love that Arn Anderson still breaks out the Arn Anderson every now and then. Fantastic. Texas says, I'm a Clemson fan, and I thought that was a good game until Bama lost their second wide receiver in 2 games. From then on, they were lost in with the ball. I 100% agree, right? I appreciate that text, and you're spot on. I said that back in the first quarter. In fact, we played the audio of when J-Mo Williams went down with that busted knee. Looks like an ACL or an MCL. I have not heard a diagnosis since then. But when he went down, Bama lost the vertical threat at that point, right? And once Bama lost the vertical threat, they were out of options. Right? Georgia was able to stack more in the box. And by the way, Georgia handled that situation well. Once they realized that Bama effectively lost the ability to go vertical, right? They came into that game with J-Mo Williams, and you saw that Georgia was not able. They were putting 4 down linemen and a couple of backers. Backers walked up to create the illusion of having more guys down up front. They'd bring them on some, they'd drop them on others. But once J-Mo Williams went down, Bama started stacking the box. Georgia started stacking the box against Bama, and Bama had no options because they could not, right? That's a spot where you go, okay, you're going to walk up, you're going to bring extra pressure. We're just going to start running guys over the top and down the middle. But the problem was the guys they had, the Slade Boldens on that team, you can lock them up one-on-one with a zone man in the middle to kind of protect the deep middle. And Bama had no answer for it. So Georgia started attacking. And really all they had, Alabama, was the last 2 tight end crosses and whatnot. I still think Bill O'Brien had some options there. But I think Bill O'Brien and the Alabama offense started panicking a little bit, right? It felt to me like they were not used to being in that spot. And play calling wise, it kind of felt to me like they had started to panic just a little bit. And when they started to panic, I didn't know what the response was going to be. And Georgia's response was to keep swinging, which I respect. Texas says, I want Rob's way too early top 25 for next season. I'll put that together for either tomorrow or Wednesday. Or excuse me, yeah, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? No, today's Tuesday. Wednesday or Thursday?
Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow would be Wednesday.
Thank you, Arn. Yeah, Monday night college football championship games just screw my whole week up, right? Can we move that game to Saturday, please? I am begging you, college football. Like, I know you don't want to go up against the National Football League, and I know that's the reason you don't, but my goodness, just work with a deal to where the NFL doesn't play a Saturday night game in Week 18, right? Play it on a Saturday. Oh, it killed me. But I'll say this, Lonzo. Mark asked me this question last night. I'm gonna give him credit for it, and I'm gonna ask the same question to Lonzo. Lonzo, I'm gonna give you the pick for next year. You can have Georgia and Alabama to win the national championship, or you can have the field. Who are you taking?
Going with the field.
Are you really?
Yes.
I'll take Georgia and Alabama to repeat.
Yeah,
maybe not against each other, but one of those two.
Clemson will bounce back.
Okay.
So they will be in there. There's another team that I like that might be in there that I'm just not going to mention. And you just never know. You don't. Alabama doesn't win it every year. Obviously, they didn't win it this year. They're not in the national championship game every year. It seems like it, but they're not. So yeah, there's some other teams that are up and coming and would have a shot at it. Out of 128 teams or whatever possibility, and you're going to take those two and not take 126 other teams. I got to go with the other.
Yup, I'm taking the two. Right? Bama's got, Georgia's going to have some quarterbacks come in. They won't be relying on Stetson Bennett. That defense is going to be as good next year. Alabama, with either one of Mechie or Williams last night, wins that game outright. The drop-off's not going to be nearly as bad next year. Yeah, I'll take those two against the field. Absolutely. I agree. Georgia's going to bounce back. Ohio State's going to be there. Let's see what Harbaugh puts together at Michigan. Can he go back-to-back semis? There's going to be some good teams. When it comes down to it, I think these two teams were just like steps ahead.
So what you're saying, Rob, is we might as well not pay attention to the college football season next year because nobody else has a chance other than Georgia or Alabama. No. So what's the point of watching?
No, I didn't say any of that. Don't you try to bad girlfriend me.
It was implied. It was inferred. There's a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, either these two teams or the field.
I might be wrong, and I know I might be wrong, right? Like I might be. The question is not what is going to happen. The question is if you were going to put a paycheck on either Bama or Georgia to win the title next year or the rest of the field. I'm just saying I think those two teams are going to be the best two teams in football again next year. And I think the SEC continues to show that they're the dominant conference. So and I don't see anybody else in the Southeastern Conference that is going to compete with them next year. You got some good teams, right? Kentucky's been getting better. Tennessee's on the path up right now. I'll be interested to see what Florida does next year, although I think they're in a rebuild, right? Nobody in the SEC is catching Bama or Georgia. That is the SEC championship game. And at this point, historically speaking, the SEC championship game produces at least one, if not both, of the national championship playing teams. One, if not both. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN. 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. When we come back, breaking news out of Major League Baseball. And yes, this is big enough news that it absolutely overrides talking about Georgia's national championship last night. I'll break that news to you when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Zoe. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
It'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use, All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com. Hello, Discover here to explain our cashback match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. And we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Creamy nut butter makes it delightfully sweet. Roasted nuts make it perfectly salty. Get two great tastes in one delicious bar. Enjoy a Nature Valley sweet and salty nut bar today.
It's not easy being
Upstate golf card in the next break.
Super duper.
But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, we're the ones who get it done. Welcome to Allstate, where your savings are always on the right track.
Did you watch Raw last night?
Not. I was busy.
That's right. Duh. I watched that. I watched it this morning. I don't know why I asked that.
Anything good? Was it as good as last week?
You missed a Brock's knock joke.
I am here for a Brock joke.
Well, I can tell it to you, but it's better to watch.
I kind of want to hear it from Brock.
Yeah. It's. I will tell you, it's he and Bobby Lashley in the ring at the same time, so that's who it's directed at.
All right, we got a little bit of, I don't know if it's breaking. It broke about 45 minutes ago. Is that considered breaking, Lonzo? Sure, why not? Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Smarter bets start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit betql.com, ladies and gentlemen. Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association will have a meeting on Thursday where the Major League Baseball side, the owner's side, will present an economic proposal to the Players Association. Remember, we're in the lockdown right now. That means nothing to be happening. We're about a month away from 2022 spring training getting started, or at least where it is supposed to get started, which we will find out. But this is good, but don't get your optimism too riled up here, okay? This is good. It's good they're sitting down. It's good that there's an actual proposal, and it's good it's about the big stuff, right? We've talked about the fact that we have seen recently that they are getting work done on stuff. The problem is that Major League Baseball's Player Association and Major League Baseball as a whole, and what they've been working on, it's pretty much been all the minor details, right? And the minor details aren't what's killing us right now. What's killing baseball right now is the big stuff, the big economic issues, which are not being addressed, or at least have not been addressed until now. But here we are now with Major League Baseball bringing an economic proposal to the players to discuss. Now, is that necessarily great? No. If Lonzo wants to sell me his very nice sports car, he doesn't, don't ask. But if he wants to sell me his very nice sports car, and I say, Lonzo, I'll give you 20 grand for it, and Lonzo says, I need $500,000 for it. Well, that doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't help anything because we are so far apart that there's honestly no point in continuing.
20 grand would imply that that's all I owe on it, and that's laughable.
I just needed an example as the fastest I could come up with off the top of the noggin. So I'm interested to see what is in this proposal. I'm interested to see what the proposal says from Major League Baseball. Jeff Passan broke this news on ESPN earlier today. Says sources familiar with the situation said that the two will sit down on Thursday for the first bargaining session since the lockout. Now, the owners reached out to the Players Association to set up the meeting, during which the league plans to make a proposal that touches on some of the core economic and competitive issues, according to sources. The parties met back in December, but they discussed more ancillary issues. The path to any eventual deal, according to Passan, runs through the economic issue, and this meeting could be a harbinger for the length of the game's first work stoppage and more than a quarter century. The meetings in Dallas have been pretty illustrative of exactly what has been going on in the bargaining. The union made a proposal that mirrored its previous one. The league said on December 1st it would make a counterproposal if the union agreed to remove from the discussions, reducing the time until players reach free agency and arbitration, as well as any changes to revenue sharing. And the union said, nope, absolutely did not agree with that. So league officials departed the hotel where the bargaining was taking place and did not return. They locked the players out that evening. MLB had previously offered changes that included the removal of direct draft pick compensation on top free agents, a draft lottery, a universal designated hitter, a minimal raise of the CBT threshold, and a higher minimum salary. The union, in its latest proposal, said it was open to expanded playoffs with 12 teams as opposed to the 14 that the league wants in right now, and allowing the league to put advertising patches on jerseys. Now, I'll tell you straight up right now, if that's a sticking point, advertising patches on a jersey, Players Association, get the hell over that one right now. I understand the premise, right? Because if you are a player who signs a deal with Xbox and then PlayStation comes out and sponsors your team to put a patch on the jersey, now all of the sudden you are an Xbox-sponsored player out there repping PS4 when you're on the field, which means the majority of the pictures of you that are going to go around on the interwebs are going to show you repping a console that is a direct competition to the one that you actually play. I see how that would be a problem. That is why the NBA has done what the NBA has done. The NBA started with this and then started working out to where jersey sponsors would also have money go towards the players as well. I don't know that the players are going to love it, but if that's the sticking point between playing baseball and not playing baseball, work a deal out quick. Work a deal out quick. Now, MLB had previously offered changes. We talked about those a second ago. Players Association came back. Players Association said no to all, not no to all of them, but no to some of them. However, here are some of the spots that we are willing to change. Here are some of the spots that we are willing to give up some room. That put the two sides on course for a meeting this Thursday. Passan says, quote, should the meeting set the sides on course towards a deal, it could salvage starting spring training on time, which sources on both sides in recent weeks have characterized as in peril. Pitchers and catchers are due to report to camps in Arizona and Florida by mid-February, with the first spring training game scheduled for February 26. Regular season games wouldn't start until March 31st. Sources said in order for the season to start on time, a deal would need to be in place by around March 10th. Because of the lockout, a number of logistical issues, from the 100-plus free agents still without jobs to the expired visas of players not from the U.S., will be prevalent and are expected to lead to a scramble regardless of when a deal is struck. So, again, the good news here is that MLB and the PA will be sitting down on Thursday. The good news here is that there have been some levels of compromise on certain issues, but these certain issues, the small issues, are all part of a larger issue where the shadow remains ominously large. We will see, and hopefully on Friday, we can report that conversation has progressed and we're working towards spring training. Again, they would have until the estimation from Jeff Passan, they would have until March 10th to get a deal done and still give players adequate time to get training in before the March 31st opening day. Any later than that, and we start losing baseball games, which is, again, the fans who are pawns in this game, that's where we start to get angry and get hurt. We'll see if they, care.
How realistic do you think it is that they start the season on time?
honestly, I'm 50-50 on it. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said 90% chance they have to cancel games. This week, I'm 50-50, mainly because this meeting kind of came out of nowhere, right? The fact that the owners called the players and said, yo, what up? New phone, who dis? You busy on Thursday? What y'all doing Thursday? You got any plans? What do you say we hit the old Hilton 5 points, knock back a couple of brewskis and see if we can figure something out? The fact that the owners came to the PA with this, I'm slightly optimistic. Slightly optimistic. Because it means, right, if MLB had not come up with some terms they're willing to push forward on as far as compromise, they wouldn't call this meeting, right? They're not going to call a meeting to the PA and go, players, thank you for coming. We're so glad you're here. Make sure you hit the veal bar out front. Delicious salads on point. The reason we brought you here today is because we wanted to say to you that we're not changing a damn thing and you're going to like it. Because that's what the owners sound like in business meetings. That's not a reason they wouldn't call a meeting together to say we haven't changed on anything.
I was going to say that sounds like a radio business meeting, but
Yeah. They're not going to call a meeting where the Players Association hits Twitter after and goes, well, that could have been an email. They're going to hit because they are going to say, okay, you know what? We thought about it. We went back and forth, and we've decided we're going to compromise on issues 1, 7, and 12. Where are you willing to compromise? And hopefully it's on 1, 7, and 12. And if they do, great. We're one step closer. But again, we'll see what this meeting brings on Friday morning. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2 after this. My name is Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo at the helm. You're listening to the Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate. Tell you about the 2022 Upstate Golf Cart, ladies and gentlemen. It's on sale now, $99. 10 rounds of golf, 18 holes at 10 of the best upstate golf courses in the area, like the Preserve at Verde, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Rolling Green. There are 2 of these bad boys sitting right now on my desk, right? Now, it's locked. Stop it. Don't come to the radio station. You're not getting them. I'm not telling you this because I'm going to give them away. Quite the opposite. I'm telling you this to tell you I got them. And by the way, when summer gets here and I don't have to hate being cold playing golf anymore, you email me and say, hey, Rob, I'm hitting up, I don't know, the Preserve at Verde or Rock or Rolling Green this weekend to play some golf. Would you like to go? I'll probably go play golf with you because I'm a lover. I like meeting people. So grab you some of the Upstate golf cards for 2022. Let's play some golf this summertime. You're not going to find a better deal on golf in the Upstate, like at all, anywhere, at all, I promise. Go to upstategolfcard.com to get yours today. Upstategolfcard.com. It's the 2022 Upstate Golf Card.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon with a high around 46. Tonight, mostly clear, low near 25. By Wednesday, sunshine, high 50 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 53. Friday, sunshine, another high 53. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Vucicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 84.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts.
You make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it is true.
All in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today. Get all the sports you love.
Big day for the game of baseball. Get more back to normal.
And listen to ESPN Upstate.
If you're looking for a new job with great pay and benefits, Auto Kineton is for you. Formerly Tower International, Auto Kineton is hiring with a $500 to $2,000 sign-on bonus. They are looking for second and third shift production technicians with starting pay at $16.80 an hour and maintenance technicians with starting pay of $32.50 an hour. Rate increases after 90 days. Don't miss their hiring events every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 141 South Chase Boulevard at Fountain Inn.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 2005 Texas Longhorns began the season ranked number 2 and stayed there all season. Their defense allowed only 16 points per game, while their Vince Young-led offense averaged 50. The Longhorns went on to face USC in the BCS National Championship game against top-ranked USC, winning 41-38 in what many consider one of the greatest college football games ever played.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Teams that win college bowls have great recruits, and great recruiting starts with great conversations. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most.
Oh, stop it.
100% buying that, by the way. That Nerf gun?
Yeah, it looks cool.
100% buying that.
Raven is texting me about the possibility of snow this weekend.
I saw that. Justice said it's a possibility, like a strong possibility.
Yeah, we'll see.
On Saturday.
My left knee is bothering me a little bit. My snow, just a little.
Reports of potential snow in Greenville this Saturday. And ladies and gentlemen, the great prognosticator, Lonzo's left knee, is telling us that's going to happen. He said his knee's been acting up on him. And you know, when a grandpa's knee starts bugging him, weather's coming. It's just how it works.
The snow knee has been effective since 1987. So, when it was completely reconstructed. And when I moved away from snow, it didn't bother me too much. But the couple times when it started to hurt, when there was possibility of snow, there was actually snow. So I'm starting to get a little bit of the ache there, but I can't guarantee it.
All right, what's your confidence right now based on snow knee?
If I was
definitely yes to
the level of pain at this moment.
Right.
But as we get closer, if the pain intensifies, there's no doubt that you people who go out and do such things should go get your milk and your bread.
Do you guys is there a run on things here when there's like somebody's like it might snow this weekend and suddenly Walmart turns into a war zone?
Well, there is regional snobbishness and people believe that it only happens here as far as milk and bread goes. And it doesn't. It happens everywhere. As someone who formerly worked in several different grocery stores and dealt with every time it snowed in Ohio, which is quite often, the run on bread and milk where the bread guys would get all happy or get depressed, depending on the part of the week, because they had to come back extra to bring extra bread. I don't get it. And I'm curious if when you were isolated at home during the height of the coronavirus, did you go get milk and bread? So what's the difference?
Fair enough.
Is snow the only milk and bread?
Yeah, no, see, I'm from down in Florida, and the milk and bread thing happens when there's a hurricane projected, right? But like with a hurricane, you usually get like 5, 6, 7 days worth of warning. So it's a little more spread out, and usually a grocery store can stock back up 2 or 3 times. So there's a run on that stuff, but it's not like pure pandemonium. However, with snow, especially as it's been said that we might get a couple of inches of snow, like an undrivable. You remember that storm last year? The lady friend and I talk about a bad decision on your boy's part. The lady friend and I last year, when we had that one big blizzard that came through, I call it a blizzard because to me it was. I know it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't even remember it, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
I think it was February of last year, so almost a year ago. February of last year, they had projected good snow in Asheville, and I've been in the snow before, but always on vacation. I've never been in a place where you can just drive in their snow, right? So I said to her, I think it was a Saturday, I said, hey, let's get in the car. Let's go up to Asheville. I want to see the snow, right? Like I want to go drink an IPA in the snow because I wear flannel and hood and beanies. Let's go up in the snow and drink an IPA. So
does it make them taste better?
It's just something about it.
Okay.
When you come from the beach of Florida, we're like, dude, Christmas Day, it was 75 degrees where I'm from. We literally opened presents on the back porch in shorts. All right. So it's not like a thing where I'm from. So to be able to go sit on a porch in the snow and drink an IPA, I don't know why it's appealing. It's appealing. Shut up. Stop judging me. I'm a hipster.
I was just wondering what kind of stories you're telling around the fire pit in the snow.
Back in February of 21. So we went up and we drove up to Asheville and had a couple of IPAs in the snow. And then it started to like snow.
I'm sorry. Now I said it wrong. Actually, you brought your acoustic guitar and you were folk singing around.
I did not. So we get up there. It starts snowing, and she's like, "All right, let's head back. Let's head back." It's because at this point they're starting to say it might snow as far south as Greenville.
Had you driven in the snow before?
Not really.
Okay.
Nothing heavy. Like I've driven in like flurries, but nothing heavy. So she's like, let's get on the road back because if it's going to snow in Greenville, we don't want to be on the interstate driving through this stuff. And I'm like, yep, fair, let's go. We get on the interstate and it is snowing, Jack, like hard to see snowing. Navigate the interstate back. Well, when we get back to a mile or so outside of Greenville where we get off the interstate to take the back roads in, there are cars in ditches, Lonzo. Now, fortunately, I drive a four-wheel drive Jeep, so I'm in a little bit better shape than some of the like Corollas we saw. But there's cars in ditches, cars that are trying to go up a hill. And we watched a couple of cars like get halfway up a hill and then just start sliding backwards to where we're like, all right, if you take this road, it stays flat. Let's go that way. We get on the last road in her neighborhood about 2 miles down this road before we come to a spot where there are just cars stuck in the road everywhere and you can't pass. So we had to turn all blah, blah, blah. Long story short, snowed in Greenville. We ended up making it back. And it went from Rob Brown, the new kid in town, going, this is so cool. We can build a snowman and have an IPA outside to like, all right, well, that's enough of that. Had about all the fun I can have. So they announced potential snow in Greenville this weekend. And I'm wondering, like, is there going to be chaos? Because last year we had that snow that shut down a lot of roads. I mean, everybody had to stay home because of this. Is there going to be that chaos?
If there are flurries, there will be chaos. I mean, come on.
Texter just said, if that was a long story short, I feel bad for people listening to your long stories. Texter says, come on now. I've lived here since birth. It's not snowing. These meteorologists on these news channels aren't even from the area. They have no idea. Do you have to be from here to project weather?
So let's say you come from somewhere where there is a lot of snow and maybe recognize the signs and you come here and suddenly you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just guessing.
By the way, y'all said the same thing last year when they said it might snow, and it snowed a lot. Like a lot. Texture says, I swear the milk and bread thing is insane. Like the snow is gone literally the next day. And if you have any driving ability at all, you can drive in it perfectly fine. As long as I have beer and liquor, I'm good.
Priority, yes.
I accept your preparation methods, Texter. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307-844-GSP-ESPN. When we come back, all the sports stories we haven't hit yet, and one more look at Georgia's national championship on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
I've driven in actual blizzards before. I mean, blizzards that were declared blizzards by the people who declare them blizzards. It's really not that bad here. The worst thing that I've ever had to deal with here is ice. When I think of driving through a blizzard, me and two of my friends are driving through a blizzard. We hit a patch where I lost it a little bit. We go off for it. The guy in the passenger side is screaming at the top of his lungs. My friend in the back seat's like, you got this? Like, yeah, we're good. But we're just sliding into a corner. In the middle. Wind, and it hit it just right. We were out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just, I still remember him screaming at the top of his lungs and me thinking, what are you doing? You've lived here your whole life. We're fine. And we were going probably like 25 miles an hour. I don't think we're going to flip unless, well, anyway.
Yeah,
my worst thing is I can't get out of my driveway sometimes when it snows and or when there's ice, because I do have to go uphill both ways to get to my.
Great for you.
Yeah,
I was fine driving back in that snowstorm last year.
Just take your time and don't panic.
Right, and that was it. I saw a lot of people. Like, I watched a guy in a, like I said, I think it was either Corolla, Accord, Camry, something like one of those, family sedan style cars. And I watched him getting up a hill, and he gets to a spot where the back tires spin a little bit, right? And what does he do, Lonzo? Guns the engine, right? As if that's going to help. Guns the engine, the tires start. Well, when the tires start spinning, it creates force vectors in a lot of ways, and the back end just starts going out away from him, and then he just stays on the gas. And I'm like, no, stop.
It's the best part about having a rear wheel drive is you can do donuts. Donuts are cool. Unless you're in the middle of the interstate and there are other people around you who are not doing donuts. You tend to crash on those.
Texter says the ground is still too warm for accumulation.
It's been, we've had, I think it depends. What, late at night, it might accumulate.
Yeah. Well, but I think that's when it's supposed to come, right? Like late Saturday into the night. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It's great to be back with you once again. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me, the great one, Lonzo, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate. I dropped both things at the same time there. That was
if you midday and you're drinking midday, there's 12-step programs you could probably see. But if you were that kind of person and you took a drink every time Rob dropped something for the entire 3 hours, you were passed out and out.
There is nothing wrong with a little bit of day drinking. All right.
I know you looked at me very offended for some reason, you know?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a little day drinking when the sun's still up. In fact, I argue that Natter days are best when the sun is still up. It's a strawberry lemonade flavored beer. And for all of you people going, turn in your man card, Rob, I will not. It's delicious.
I was waiting for you to sing. All I want to do is have some fun. I thought you were heading that way.
I got a feeling I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Day drinking's fine. And if it snows, even better day drinking, because now I have an excuse not to go anywhere. Right? Now I have an excuse not to go anywhere. Texter says they ain't called Natter Nights for a reason. Bravo.
I'm learning some words that I've never heard of before.
Hey, you got Natter Days, which is a strawberry lemonade flavored beer, and it is delicious. And Texter says they ain't called Natter Nights for a reason. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well done. All right. So a couple of sports stories that we have not gotten to. The NFL has put out a report on its regular season coverage. So yesterday and last Friday, I told you guys that I fully expect that this national championship game is going to be one of the 3 most watched national championship games of all time. I think it's definitely in the top 4. All right. And most of you guys went, absolutely no chance, Rob. Absolutely no chance. Nobody outside of the southeastern region of these great United States cares about this game. And that's fine. I get the premise.
Yeah, I was one of those guys, but it was a pretty good game. It really was.
First off, they gave us a great game. You can say what you want, but the longer that game went on, the more people tuned into it.
I highly expected halfway through the game to head to the game room, turn on an extra TV, and have it going on in the background. That did not happen.
Correct. It was a good game. So I get the little extra benefit of it having been a great game. But I guarantee this is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 most watched college football games of all time, championship games anyway, because of this. And I led with this as my line of thinking when I talked about this stuff. And now, literally 2 days later, I get proven accurate. When we started seeing Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, and then we started seeing the BLM protest and players taking a knee at the anthem and all that, I heard, like a lot of people saying, I'm never watching the NFL again. They've lost me. As a viewer, I am out. I am done with the league. I'm never watching the league again. I'm out. Well, those people, or at least the majority of them, are what we call liars. And here's how we can prove that. According to Richard Deitch of Sports Illustrated, CBS Sports has announced that its NFL regular season coverage averaged 18.034 million viewers, the network's most watched regular season in the past 6 years. Fox Sports said that its NFL regular season coverage averaged 18.572 million viewers, topping regular season viewership in 2017, 2018, and 2020. There are a lot of people that are going to peacock out in public and say, I'm not watching that because I don't like X. I don't like players taking a knee. I don't like Colin Kaepernick. I don't like that the SEC has once again dominated college football and is hosting a rematch in the national championship game. So therefore, I'm not going to watch these games. And those people are putting on a show and then going home and watching those particular games. NFL viewership on CBS, the most watched regular season since 2016. Fox Sports, its most overall watched regular season, with the exception of 2019, since 2016. The year before COVID was the only year that Fox had more average viewership, and CBS has had its highest average viewership since 2016. So all those people that said, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. There's too much politics. There's too much protesting. There's too much this. There's too much that. All those people, they still watched.
I don't know about all of them.
Okay, you're right. The vast majority of them watched.
Just trying to help you before you get text saying
I
you
appreciate
can't
it.
say that.
You're correct. I, who made a big deal about painting with a broad brush and making generalizations when angry at Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond Howard, it is fair that you call me to the carpet on my hypocrisy, and I accept your claim.
That was a big old jiggle brush.
I got wiggle, baby. I got wiggle. All those people who said that they are not watching the NFL, the vast majority of them still tuned in. And I got news for you about that game last night. A lot of people out in Pac-12 country. I'm not watching that game. I'm not watching the SEC get another run. A lot of people in Big 10 and Big 12 country said, nope, we got locked out. I'm not watching the SEC. Do it again. A lot of people up in the New England area said, nope, I ain't watching it. Y'all, they watched that game. They always watch the game because sports matter to us. Sports matter enough that we are willing to put stuff we hate on the back burner to keep watching said sports. I'll give you another example, and this is one that's going to hit very close to home because I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am having significant moral and ethical dilemmas within my own stupid head right now. The World Cup is in Qatar or Qatar or whatever you want to pronounce it as. I have been told by folks in the military it's Qatar, but I've also had a lot of people tell me it's Qatar. Call it whatever you want to call it. That's where the next World Cup is. And it is known as a fact now that there are major ethical dilemmas taking place in Qatar or Qatar in order to have the World Cup ready to go. There is what is effectively forced labor taking place to get people there. They're taking their visas away so they can't leave. They're paying them peanuts to build the stadiums the World Cup is going to take place in. And if you were concerned about corruption and bribery, yeah, it's definitely there, which is why the World Cup's going to get moved from the summer, where it's always played, to the winter. Because in the summer, Qatar is inhospitable with temperatures in the 112 to 118 range, meaning you can't play 90 minutes of football there. So they moved the World Cup from summer to winter so they can play, and they're using forced labor to build these stadiums. However, The World Cup is the world's favorite sporting event. It is the most watched sporting event in the world, more than the Olympics, more than the Super Bowl, more than anything else. And there are a lot of people, myself included, who are having a moral and ethical dilemma of, I love the World Cup. I can't wait to watch the World Cup. But am I a bad person if I want to watch the Qatar World Cup? Knowing what is going in to making this happen. It's a moral and ethical dilemma. And I will tell you that when the World Cup turns on, you are going to have major sponsors throwing around millions of dollars. And you are going to have an insane number of viewers, just like always. Sports matters so much to us that we are willing to put things on the back burner that in any other situation, we would not. We would not. I have stopped going to businesses because of business decisions that they have made at the top corporate level. And then those businesses sponsor a bowl game, and I tune in and watch the bowl game, right? I give them eyes on it. I make them money. Most of the people who said, I am not watching this championship game Monday night because I'm tired of the SEC being allowed to run things. I'm tired of rematches. I'm tired of the dominance. I'm tired of teams getting locked out. I'm tired of it all. I'm not watching. They spent all day at work yesterday telling all their friends, I'm not watching this game tonight. I got no interest. I'm not supporting the way that college football is structured. And then they all went home and they watched the game. They may not have tweeted about it. They may not have Facebooked about it, but they're going to watch. And the NFL is my illustration of that. There were mass numbers of people 4 years ago, that said, I'm never watching the NFL again. There's too much politics in the NFL. Well, the eyes on, according to CBS and Fox, are as high as they have been in over a half a decade. The numbers after the cap season, when all of this stuff started, dipped very slightly from an all-time high, which is not unexpected. But since then, they have rebounded back to an all-time high.
Well, you could also look at it that they saw the things that were causing people to go away, and they pretty much have eliminated those things because they have.
To some aspect, I would agree. No, I wouldn't say they eliminated. I'd say they compromised on stuff, right?
Compared to the height of the controversy and the things that were turning people away, you don't really see those things anymore.
The height of the controversy was, if we're just calling it what it is, players taking a knee, right? That was the crux. There was some other stuff, but players taking a knee was the crux. And so the NFL went to the players and they said, here's the deal. We're going to let you wear patches on the back of your helmet that say end racism. We're going to let you wear hoodies on the sideline that say equality and opportunity. We're going to let you do whatever you want to do. We're going to let you wear cleats that have designs on them of civil rights leaders. We're going to let you do all that. And the unspoken return was, if you'll stop taking a knee. And the players, by and large, have accepted that. And I think we have seen the knee was so glaring because it was so in your face, right? The camera kept cutting to the guys that were taking a knee. It was in your face.
It became a point of politics. It became a point of emphasis. And the powers that be in the NFL decided to show it as much as possible, or the TV companies decided to do that. There might be people kneeling now. They've just decided it's not the it thing to do, and they don't show it anymore.
Sure.
What I'm saying is, I think people came back because they missed football and they looked for the thing that drove them away, and they didn't see it anymore.
And I agree. It was a plan. It was a plan by the NFL. It was a plan by the TV execs, and it was a plan by the players. The players now get to demonstrate in other ways. The NFL is painting end racism and equality in the end zones so that it is on camera. The players are coming out before games rocking, pride rainbow hoodies and equality and opportunity beanies and all that. There is probably more projection of the message the players wanted to send than ever before. The difference is it's not presented as in your face as it used to be, right? Like now, there's all this stuff on the field. Watch the NFL sideline. The players all have black hoodies with white lettering on it that say equality and opportunity. On the back of their helmets, you know where the little rubber piece comes out and wraps around the back of the helmet so the edge of the helmet doesn't dig into the player's skin? On that little piece of white rubber that goes around there, a lot of them it says end hate or end racism or it takes us all or whatever the message is. The message is more prominent than it ever has been before, but it's not as in your face as the camera zooming in on the 5 players who kneeled for the anthem. But here's the thing. We can say all those guys came back, Zoe, but according to these numbers, they never left, right? Fox Sports had its higher regular season coverage than any season since 2016. CBS had its highest watched regular season in the last 6 years.
You did mention earlier there was a dip. So some people did leave for a while and they came back.
The hardcore people did leave. But numbers-wise, if they ain't back, they've been replaced. And that was what I was saying about Georgia, Alabama. Texter says, I got a couple of texts. I think the argument can be made that viewership has increased as protests and the like, as their prominence as a story has decreased. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Protests have not decreased. They have just changed appearance. They're still there, but it was just the one thing that aggravated about it. It was kneeling during the anthem. There is more messaging than has ever been before in these games, but it's not as in your face and people are more comfortable with that.
The other thing is they don't make a point to show it as much either. They don't zoom in on the back of helmets very much just to show that message. So some would say, what good does it do?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right?
Because when something becomes a part of the background, people rarely notice the background.
Well, and I think the other part of it is protests by and large are interruptions, right? They're interruptions of the norm. That's what a good protest is, an interruption of the norm. And it's to get attention focused, because if your norm is interrupted, you are going to put your eyeballs on what is being interrupted. The protests that are happening now, they're not even protests. I guess they're more demonstration because they're not interrupting anything. The beanies and the chalk on the sideline and the words on the back of the helmets and on the cleats, all of that can happen and all of that can be shown on camera, but it doesn't interrupt the game. And I think that's what TV wanted. And that's what's happened. Texas says, I can't stop watching the NFL, but I 100% haven't watched an NBA game since they started with all the Black Lives Matter boat. Ain't nobody got time for you playing the... What a hypocritical stance. The NFL players are still doing it. The NBA players are doing the same thing, right? The messaging is there. They're not interrupting games like they used to. The NBA has put stuff on the floor, on the court.
More out front than the NFL.
How much NBA have you watched this year? Because I watched a lot, and no, it's not. And I don't say that as a slight. I'm saying that as from somebody who watches 5, 6, 7 NBA games a week. It's absolutely not. It's absolutely not. The NBA, to me, is absolutely on course with the NFL. I don't know what I don't agree with what you're saying, right?
I am curious about viewership for the NBA, if it's went down or if it's went up.
I think the NBA was hurt far more than the NFL by the COVID lockdown. I think a lot of people started to tune out to the NBA, but I think it was because the NBA is more watched for the show than the game. The NFL is the other way around. People watch the NFL for the game, and if there's a show, great. People watch the NBA for the show and don't really care if it's for a game. Sports Business Journal. Now, this is just one small sliver of the pie here, Zoe, but to answer your question, Sports Business Journal says the NBA averaged 4.1 million viewers for the 5 games on ABC and ESPN on Christmas Day of 2021, the lowest figure since the league expanded to a 5-game slate in 2008, and the lowest since ESPN acquired the rights prior to the 2002 season. In 2020, when the league began on Christmas week due to COVID, the games averaged 4.3 million viewers that day, but overall, the average viewership of the NBA is up slightly. Regular season games across TNT and ESPN have seen an increase for the NBA, with average viewership up 6% compared to the same period for the last 2 seasons. Women are also now accounting for 1/3 of NBA game viewership, which is up 37% across TNT and ESPN.
See, that's a little skewed, though, because, there were less games. So, of course, viewership is going to be up. I mean, during the COVID period when games are canceled, games are down. If you count the year where the basketball was, canceled to a certain – the numbers are a little off. I think it'd be better to compare it to a year before COVID than comparing it to years during COVID.
Well, they compared it to 2 years ago. The 6% up is from the year before COVID, not COVID year. So it is up from pre-COVID numbers. But just 6% is a big number when you're talking about millions of viewers. But it's not what the NFL has done in setting all-time highs. But the NBA is rebuilding slowly. The NBA, I think, does a better job at getting new viewers, right? I think the NBA does a better job. The NFL keeps the established crowd there, which is why I think the 18.5 mil? I think that's consistent viewership. Whereas the NBA, I think it does a better job, to the detriment of the game, by the way. But it does a better job of building up young stars in the next generation of talent to get the next generation of viewers interested, right? With football, they celebrate the guys that have been out there for a very long time. You hear about the rookies, you hear about the Jonathan Taylors, but they established the Big Bens and the Aaron Rodgers and the Devontae Adams and those guys. So the guys who have been watching it for a long time stick around. The NBA presents the Ja Morants and the Ice Trays and guys like that, and they get younger viewership. But younger viewers is a dwindling pool because as we go, and we've seen this in studies, younger people have so many more options for entertainment than even my generation did. Forget Lonzo's, right? You go on Twitch right now, there are guys that stream themselves playing video games and have 2 million subscribers. People who just tune in to watch a dude play a video game. Young people have so many more avenues for entertainment than any previous generation did that sports getting new viewers in is hard, but I think the NBA does the best job of doing that, and that's why their numbers are coming up, but not as fast as other sports are. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. From right now, got a couple of responses to the baseball story and more. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate. Say back, my friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville, ladies and gentlemen. HD Greenville wants you to become a part of the Harley Davidson family. And here's what I mean. When you go to a lot of dealerships, not all, but when you go to a lot of dealerships, what's going to happen is you're going to walk in and they're going to try to sell you a motorcycle. And then once you buy that motorcycle, that's it, you're done, right? Like they might send you a happy birthday email next year and tell you 1% off your next oil change when you come in. Harley Davidson of Greenville wants you to know that once you become a part of the Harley Davidson family, whether you buy a brand new 2022 Harley, those models are on the way. Whether you buy a bike from the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate, once you buy that bike, they are taking care of you. Not only is all the work going to be done to tinker on that bike, to make it the bike of your dreams with the bells and whistles and gadgets, gizmos, and customizations that you want, they're going to do all the work right there in-house at Harley Davidson of Greenville. And then once you're done with that, they host events year-round. They host rides year-round. If you have any questions, you can walk in and go, hey, I want to do this. Where can I ride? And they're going to draw you out the map. They will look after you. So especially if you are a new rider, as I was 7 years ago when I bought my first motorcycle, I had all kinds of questions about where do I go? What do I do? How do I do it? I wish I would have had a Harley Davidson of Greenville there. I have a Harley Davidson of Greenville now. You got questions? You got concerns? You got things you want done to the bike? HD of Greenville is going to take care of you from start to finish. Go check them out at 30 Chrome Drive, or go to their website at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com. It's our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville. Bye.
Bye-bye. Panthers are going to bring back quarterback PJ Walker. He has signed a new one-year deal. He was set for exclusive rights free agency, so the Panthers just had to offer him a contract, and he was going to be locked in for the upcoming season. Panthers continue to look for a new offensive coordinator. Multiple names have been reported. The latest, according to NFL Network, they want to interview Houston passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach Patrick Hamilton. college basketball. Wofford, they come up short, losing to UNC Greensboro Monday night. They fall 58 to 54. South Carolina basketball, they are in action this evening as they match up against Tennessee in Knoxville.
Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With for ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, we will now know the national champions. So why does it feel still like a little bit of a buzz game? Who can break this Alabama-Georgia domination? Plus, why love sports brings ancient ideas about
He's talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan.
All right, just a warning. You need to pay attention. In case there's a deflection that hit you in the head.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, we're going over the monitors.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Good bounce. Oh, if you wouldn't have hit on the bottle cap, it'd have been in. You hit the hardest part to get the hardest deflection. There it is.
I gotta try axe throwing. I still haven't tried that yet. I think I'd be okay at axe throwing. There's a couple places around here. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. Have you been axe throwing before?
I have been. In fact, I'm going again on Thursday. Very excited. I like it. Brings out my inner barbarian.
Is it expensive?
It's like $25 for an hour of it, I think, or at least it was in Destin. I don't know what it costs here. In Destin, I think you could rent an alley for like $25 for an hour and have as many people throw as you want. But what was cool about the one we had in Pensacola was they had the hand hatchets, but they also had war hammers.
Really?
So they were like 4 foot long axes on poles, so you could throw full war hammers, which was really fun, but exhausting, honestly.
Yeah, well, I bet. Did you stick any of them? The big ones?
It took a while to get it because with the tomahawk, it's if you release it at the top, they're pretty much weighted to 2 spins and they're hitting blade first. You gotta release way late or way early to not stick a tomahawk. With the war axe, you've got to release on the like the extension of the throw, and it's 1 rotation and it hits. And it's harder to get the gauge, but once you get it down where you're sticking the axe, that thing hammers the board. It's a lot of fun.
As far as the target goes, is it straight across the eye line for you,
it's about eye level, yeah. Yeah, usually the bullseye, it might be just a bit below my eye line, but it's about 6 foot up. But that's with the hatchet, you're releasing at the top. So the hatchet, it's actually on a downward angle when it hits, which helps because when it's rotating in, it needs all the downward trajectory to get the blade to sink. With the war axe, when you're releasing, it's straight at level, so you gotta throw it. Join us on the Facebook stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, or go to youtube.com, search The Rob Brown Show. And if you got a YouTube app on your smart TV, you can actually pull it up and watch it like we're on your television. By the way, ESPN Upstate is your home for all the NFL playoff action. Every playoff game up to and including the Super Bowl is broadcast here and only here on ESPN Upstate. If you're in the Upstate looking to listen to a little NFL playoffs, ESPN Upstate is your home for just that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I want to go back to this national championship game. Alabama played Texas in the national championship game a number of years ago, right? Up towards the front of Nick Saban's appearance as the head man in Tuscaloosa. And they had a young man, did the Longhorns, playing quarterback named Colt McCoy. And Colt McCoy in that game came into that game white hot. Colt McCoy was banged up early in that game, had to leave the game with if I remember correctly, a leg injury, I believe it was. I could be wrong. But Colt McCoy had to leave that game. And ever since then, Texas fans have said that game kind of changed the course, and that injury to Colt McCoy kind of changed the course of college football, right? Because Nick Saban would go on to build a dynasty at Alabama, and Texas has been an absolute mess since Colt McCoy left. But if they win that championship game, which a lot of Longhorns fans believe they would have had Colt McCoy stayed healthy and they didn't have to go to Garrett after the injury, then maybe the fortunes of those two schools are reversed. I think it's a little dramatic, but I get the point. Well, Alabama suffered the same fate last night. Because I'm willing to say, Lonzo, that it was proven all year that when Alabama had the home run ball between John Mechie and Jameson Williams, when they had the home run ball threat available, Alabama could keep defenses rocked back, right? You could not just attack. And in the previous iterations of Alabama football, stack the box, attack the run, right? Now, they've always had some really good receivers, starting with DJ Hall early in Saban's career and running up through Devontae Smith last season. They've always had good receivers and a home run threat. But it used to be with Bama, you stack the box, maybe they hit a home run ball on you. But if you could take out the Mark Ingrams, the Josh Jacobs, etc., then Bama slowed down a little bit. Wasn't easy to do, but the theory was there. When Alabama lost the home run threat, when Jameson Williams had to leave that game last night with a busted knee, Alabama lost that game. Because while Georgia let them hang around for a while, once Georgia was able to put a couple of points up on the board by breaking the seal and opening up the touchdown scoring, Alabama was in the rear view. Even when Alabama scored their touchdown to take the 1-point lead, they were still at a point where Georgia's offense was clicking a little bit better. I am comfortable saying, Lonzo, much like I would agree with Texas fans, that if Colt McCoy is healthy at that point, Texas wins that game. I am comfortable saying that if John Mechie but if J-Mo and Mechie, if either one of them is healthy last night, Lonzo, Alabama wins that football game. Fair or foul?
I'd have to say fair.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they were trending in a certain direction when he got hurt.
Yeah. J-Mo pops off for one more big 70-yard catch. That game's completely different. But that's football, man. It's overcoming injuries. I think Alabama's the better football team. But Georgia only had to be the better football team for one night, and they did it. But when Alabama lost their two big home run balls, when Alabama lost the deep threats, and their vertical offense became vertically challenged, and they couldn't force Georgia defensive backs to stay back, right? Georgia started walking everybody up. And when Georgia started walking everybody up, when Georgia started bringing their DBs 3-4 yards closer, so that when the handoff happened to Brian Robinson Jr., they could attack the line of scrimmage without being concerned about, can we get burned, right? Slade Bolden was not going to burn you. I gave him a lot of credit. I think he was the unsung hero for Alabama last night because his ability to find the gap in the field where coverage had fallen apart and sit down in it and catch a football kept them in motion in spots where Alabama was otherwise struggling because they couldn't get the run going. But they couldn't get the run going because Georgia was saying, hey, you want to throw for 3 yards to Bolden? That's fine. We're scoring now. We'll let you have it. What we're not going to do, we're not going to drop an extra guy deep because we're afraid of the deep ball because you don't have anybody to scare us with the deep ball. So we're going to push up, and when we see a run, we're going to attack the hell out of it. And they did, and they slowed down Bama's offense, and Bama had no response for it. In the regular season, when teams were attacking the run like Georgia did in the second half last night, Alabama just beat them deep. That won Bryce Young the Heisman Trophy. Last night they couldn't do it because they just didn't have anybody to send deep. The best receiving option they had was a tight end. The best receiving option they had was Cameron Latu, who had the first touchdown catch that opened up the scoring for Bama. But when the best option you have is a crossing tight end, you're not a threat to a team like Georgia. Injuries impacted that game way more than any of us want to admit. And it's a bummer because I think we'd have got an even better game could Bama go deep. But, Lonzo, that's football. That's how the game works.
Absolutely. Injuries is part of football, and it's something we got to deal with, whether it's preseason, postseason, wherever. People are going to get hurt. And it's a violent game. It's going to happen. And when it does, next man up, if next man up isn't as good as the guy in front of him, which he's probably not, there's a reason why that guy's starting. You're going to have a drop-off in whatever position the guy was in. And they lost too many. It's not an excuse. They got beat by Georgia. And the same thing could have happened to Georgia. They could have had the same kind of injuries, but they didn't.
Of all the sports cliches, and man, I hate a cliche. Of all the sports cliches, next man up might be the one I hate the most. You are very fortunate if the next man up is as good as the first.
Rob, it is what it is. I mean,
I love that one. That's my favorite cliche.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Sometimes it is what it is.
If it isn't what it is, it's a lie, right? I don't know. Maybe.
It is what it is means, hey, this is out of your control. Now you can only respond to it, right? For Alabama last night, when J-Mo Williams went down, it is what it is. How you going to work around it? The answer is the biggest hammer in the toolbox disappeared for Alabama.
Well, some would say, the greatest college football coach of all time should have had a quick plan to solve the problem when the player went down, because that's what the greatest college football coach of all time should be able to do, right?
I mean, theoretically, but as I've used this metaphor before, I think Jimmy Johnson's the greatest NASCAR driver of all time, right? 7-time. I think JJ, the 48, is the best NASCAR driver of all time. If I put him in the Daytona 500 and I give him a Honda Accord to race in, he's not winning, because the greatest have to still have equipment to win on. And if I gave 7-time a Toyota Corolla to race in, he's going to get smoked. If you put JJ in a Corolla and me in a stock car, I will beat Jimmy Johnson, because I've got the tools to win and he does not. Last night, Nick Saban, after he lost Jameson Williams, was driving a Corolla against Kirby Smart's NASCAR stock machine, and it didn't work. Now, you can blame it on Saban by you should have had better wide receiver depth. You should have had but I mean, he lost Mechie and J-Mo. That's a tough run for a whole season. He had neither for a game, for the biggest game. He just didn't have the horsepower to run what he needed to do against a really stout Georgia defense. But it is what it is. Texter says, it is what you've made it. Stop triggering me. I mean, sometimes it is what you've made it. In fairness, smart Alec text aside, I get what he's saying, and I agree, right? Sometimes it is what it is because of what you did before it became what it is. And that's absolutely correct. I get it. But what was Nick Saban going to do? Have a fourth track star wide receiver on the roster? He's only got so many scholarships to fill up 22 starting positions and have depth at each. Now, maybe Nick Saban decides to go, you know what, I'm going to have 7 wide receivers on scholarship next year, just in case. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. But the reality is, it was what it was for Bama. And even if it was what it was because of their own, first off, it wasn't their own making. Alabama did not choose to have Mechie and J-Mo both go down to season-ending knee injuries in the worst possible time, right? What the text is saying is true when it's factors that were in your control and you did it. Alabama didn't choose to have Mechie and J-Mo go down. That was outside of their control. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got one more segment. I got a breaking story out of the Carolina Panthers, ladies and gentlemen, plus some comments that Matt Rule made yesterday that, and I may quote the kids on this one, Lonzo, LOL. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Roger said you had drunk tweeters last night. You are probably correct, Roger.
I'm glad I decided to listen to this because I thought that looked like just music. That's supposed to be Sports Center.
I've heard them before go like 30 seconds before they kick in.
Oh, you can see where it kicks in. It's right near the end. But I thought it was just music, so I wanted to listen before I played it.
Get a free second opinion at QC Connect. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Strong for your South Pole. Charmin keeps your undies whiter than the North Pole. Shiny, honey, a brand new year. Color Charmin, happy new year. Holidays, see Charmin, clean, merry, and bright. May all your undies Charmin.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
You probably wouldn't leave thousands of dollars on the table at a diner. Why leave thousands on the table with your tax return? Jackson Hewitt will help make sure you don't. This year, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help you track down every last one, so you get your biggest refund guaranteed. Don't leave thousands on the table this year. Discover thousands of dollars in tax credits instead. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
BC Power knows life pushes us to the max. Work to the max. Family to the max. It can all be paid to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max. New BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor.
Creamy nut butter makes it delightfully sweet. Roasted nuts make it perfectly salty. Get two great tastes in one delicious bar. Enjoy a Nature Valley sweet and salty nut bar today.
Today's pros need today's.
I was going to say Kellerman looks really short.
What's that?
Kellerman, I thought looked really short. Then I realized who he was standing next to. I was like, okay, I don't know how tall JJ Redick is, but I'm guessing he's probably 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
Every morning, we present the best sports story of the day. And ESPN Daily is presented by Supercuts. Supercuts is the perfect way to get a haircut if you're someone who doesn't have time for a haircut. You just check in on the Supercuts app or you walk in for a quality cut. The highly trained stylist at Supercuts can always give you that fresh cut feeling fast. And it's not just any haircut, it's Supercuts. Check it now on the Supercuts app or on supercuts.com.
All right, so the off season for Charlotte is, for Carolina in Charlotte is bound to be tumultuous. Panthers have fired offensive line coach Pat Meyer, special teams coach Chase Blackburn, and defensive line coach Frank Oakham, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL.com, handing out pink slips. No, sorry, red. What slip do you get when you get fired? It's pink slip, right? I thought, or yeah, it's breaking.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could have.
It's breaking.
Well, they are pink slips, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I thought pink slips were like, I watched Grease a long time ago. I thought you raced for pink slips, right?
No, I don't think that's what they were called.
Did Grease lie to me?
I don't think they were pink slips. I think they were called something else.
Yeah, yeah. According to the drive.com, what does it mean to race for a pink slip? It means you're putting it all online. The winner of the race gets the other person's pink slip, which means they either get maybe it's slang, maybe it's Urban Dictionary. I don't know. According to Urban Dictionary, and let me read this one time through before I go out on the limb. The ultimate bet in terms of personal confidence in an illegal street race or the like. Two racers put their cars on the line by offering their registration slips as winnings. The winner of the resulting race wins the opponent's car for good. This is exhibited in some of the Fast and the Furious movies, end quote.
And then according to the Oxford Dictionary, a pink slip is a notice of dismissal from employment.
All right, so if I get fired,
you get a pink slip.
Yeah, if I get fired and the boss says, hey, you don't work here anymore, and I say, does that mean I'm getting a pink slip? And he says, yes, I'm stealing his car. That's a verbal agreement.
Works for me.
I'm going to Paul Walker his car. Nope, I'm going to Vin Diesel his car out of there because he gave me the pink slip.
Do you even know what the boss drives?
I think it's a truck, but I don't know that I can pick it out.
Yeah, it's well.
I think I could guess.
Yeah.
I think after the show, we walk down to the parking lot. I'm going to see if I can guess which car is his. I think I can narrow it down. Plus, there's only like 6 people in the building, so my options are limited.
There's that, yeah.
So, handful of coaches out at Carolina. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer. That one's expected, right? The offensive line was atrocious. Again, I don't think Pat Meyer was really given a whole lot of tools to work with here. Speaking of guys not being given the resources they needed to succeed.
I was going to say, he looks at it and goes, I'm out of here in a year.
Thanks for the JUCO lineup, Matt. Special team coach Chase Blackburn has been let go, and this one I don't get. Defensive line coach Frank Oakham. Not sure why you're letting your defensive line coach go. Defensive line was one of the few things that won you the 5 games that you won. Don't get that one.
Maybe you're bringing in a package deal from somewhere else, and you have to get rid of somebody else to open up a spot.
We're gonna see how this plays out. We'll absolutely see how this plays out.
Sounds more like, yeah, you can stay, Rule, but you're gonna have to make some changes. So he's just like, okay, you're gone. Is that enough, boss? Nope. Okay, let me get rid of. Okay, defensive line coach. Okay, you're gone.
Yep. I also saw a situation where Matt Rule said, remember there was the fourth down play late in the game or later in the game against Tampa Bay this weekend where they needed a yard to pick up a first on fourth down. Sam Darnold QB sneaked and he failed at it. And everybody said, Matt Rule, why did you not go with Cam Newton there, right? Like if you're going to QB sneak, isn't Cam Newton the guy? Matt Rule's response was, the call was QB sneak, says a QB power run would have been more Cam Newton speed, and then mentioned that Sam Darnold is 6'4". And that's fine and true. Cam Newton is 6'5.5". So if height is your reason, Matthew, what a dumb call.
I was going to say, I think Cam's taller.
Yeah. You don't have to think. I'm telling you, he is. He's taller by about 1.5 inches. If you're going to justify QB sneaking, if you're going to justify the QB sneak because Darnold's 6'4", you are effectively showing me that you don't know your roster at that point, man. You don't know your own roster at that point. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a joke. This is the kind of stuff that gets me frustrated. This is the kind of stuff that bugs me. Now, let me borrow the sound real quick, if you don't mind, Lonzo, because I got a clip that I did not get a chance to upload. But this is Matt Rule. When he was asked why they decided to sign Sam Darnold's 5th-year option as quickly as they did before evaluating him on the field, this is actual audio, not being sarcastic. This is actual audio from Matt Rule answering that question.
Bringing him here to be the starter, knowing that if he had a great year, that he would be a high price guy, and if he's a starter at that number, that's low end starter money. So that was a decision made. It was a collective decision, and
sorry about the end clip there. I don't bag on guys for not being great orators when they got a mic jammed in their face, especially when they're asked a tough question. Because I get it. There are people out there that clam up and stutter. And I do it sometimes still,
Let's just say not everybody's an award-winning show host like Rob Brown, who's never been nervous a day in his life.
Correct. We don't have crystal trophies at our house with our names etched on them. All right? I get it. I don't bag on a guy. But I know that Matt Rule can speak well in front of a mic because I've seen him do it. This is what happens when you call a guy out to their face. This is what happens when a guy doesn't have an answer for a dumb decision. Hey, man, why did you blow half our checking account at the strip club last night? Well, you don't have an answer.
Have you heard that conversation before? Because it sounds like you were, I mean, not you, but you heard somebody else have to answer for blowing the money there.
Not specifically, but yes, I do. In fact, Lonzo, if you will give me,
I was going to say, I was just trying to help you while you were sneezing.
Yeah, thanks very much.
I mean,
if you would give me audio one more time, I'm going to go to the Rob Brown GOAT collection of sound bites to play you the last time that I heard a guy clam up that bad.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's Garrett Cole giving a Matt Rule answer on if he has doctored the baseball months ago. You gave it to him because you're not good at your job. And personnel evaluation is a struggle. Back after this to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Here's an important message from Equigen. A critical new FDA study proves that widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high possibilities of reading. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Equigen, backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Equigen. Learn more at Equigen. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and a plan available that the provider determines the prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to 4hims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/joy.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and new savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
Hey, remember how 20 years ago I switched to Progressive? Well, now it's the future, and I use all those savings to buy this new hologram phone. Because, it's the future, and everything's holograms now.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. As a casualty insurance company affiliates and insurance savings by new customers surveyed who save with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities. But every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
This report is sponsored by Freedom Plasma. Did you know blood plasma collected by Freedom Plasma is used for several life-saving therapies? And did you know you could earn hundreds of dollars safely donating yours? Go to freedomplasma.com or call 864-377-8115. Start earning cash and saving lives.
All right, time restraints. Freddie Mercury is trending.
Oh, birthday or death day? Did not make the top 10?
No.
Ooh, I got a problem with top 10. Make an argument. Jesse McCartney's not going ahead of Freddie Mercury. I'd argue Michael Jackson doesn't belong in the top 5. Michael Jackson, top 2 entertainers of all time, but singers? No. Freddie Mercury's ahead of Michael Jackson in terms of singing. Not performing, although I would say maybe not performing either. Just depends on taste. But Michael Jackson doesn't go ahead of Freddie Mercury in terms of singing, right? Singing? Just singing?
Yeah, I would. But I would.
This is our first fight.
So 100%. That's what I'm guessing.
Where's Justin Bieber on the list?
I don't think he was on it, but I'm shocked that he wasn't.
I would start Stone Cold Stunning people if he was. That's it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. We out. We'll be back tomorrow to win another award on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.